ball!
Live from Shea Stadium in New York, WWOR-TV presents Mets Baseball 89. As tonight, the Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. And Mets Baseball 89 is brought to you this evening by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race. By the 9X Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here. By Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. On your next trip, feel the Hyatt touch. By your New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut good old skies. And by Tropicana. Pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies tonight, right-hander Steve Ontiveros, who's 2-0 with an ERA of 0.60. And on the mound for the Mets, right-hander David Cone, 1-1 this year with an ERA of 3.52.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Rob Kiner, along with Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver. Well, the Mets are in last place in the National League East. As a matter of fact, they have the second worst record of any team in baseball. The worst record going to the Detroit Tigers, and the Mets are playing a surprisingly red-hot Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies are coming on strongly, and they are now in second place. So Mets really hurting right here, Tim. And, of course, Davey Johnson seems to be vacillating back and forth with his starting lineup.
He's trying to get some consistency in the starting lineup. He has changed around the starting lineup tonight. Timmy Tuffle playing second base against the right-hander Steve Ontiveros. And with that consistency, he's gone to his most consistent starter of last year, David Cone, who was 20-3. He's 1-1 this year and is probably, along with Doc Gooden, the best pitcher on the Mets staff right now. And nobody would have thought that a year ago, because a year ago at this time, David Cone was in the bullpen.
That is right. And Steve Ontiveros, also very surprising. He was signed as a free agent. No one expected him to be, what they are saying, the best pitcher on the Philadelphia Phillies staff. So we'll be back with the start of the game right after this message from Budweiser.
For an ice cold Bud?
Where does she come from?
It takes years of experience and knowledge. And hours of hard work. It's called teamwork. At Manufacturers Hanover, teamwork means performance. To solve intricate financial challenges, you have to be able to pull together.
Back is back at Nissan. For a limited time, you can get $750 cash back directly from Nissan on selected Sentras and hardbodies. Up to $1,000 cash back or special financing on Stanzas and Pulsar NXs. And dealer cash incentives up to $3,000. Cash back is back. Now at your Nissan dealer.
Down here, a paint's worst enemy is the blazing sun. That's why the great American home of Henry Ford is being protected with new Sears Advanced Formula Weather Beater. It's the most durable paint we've ever offered. After all, for over 12 years, Weather Beater has maintained the home next door of Ford's close friend, Thomas Edison. Chances are it's on your neighbor's house, too. Sears Weather Beater, preferred by more homeowners for great American homes like yours.
Well, a good night for baseball here at Shea Stadium. Mets against the Philadelphia Phillies. Each side has won one game of this three-game series. And going for the Mets, David Cone. David with a record of 1 win and 1 loss so far this year. Last year, 20-11. An earned run average of 3.52. He has walked 4, struck out 5, given up 13 hits in 15 1/3 innings.
And the lineup for the Phillies. Curt Ford will be playing right field tonight. Ron Jones, in last night's ball game, injured his right knee. He was operated on this morning, and he will be out for 3 months as the right fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. Tommy Herr, the second baseman, batting second. Chris James in left field hitting third, and Mike Schmidt, the third baseman, hitting fourth. What can you say about Mike Schmidt? 546 lifetime home runs. The Major League's leading hitter, Von Hayes, batting fifth and playing center field tonight first baseman and a good hitter, Ricky Jordan, batting 6th. Darren Dalton, the catcher, hitting 7th. Dickie Thon, the shortstop, batting 8th. And Steve Ontiveros on the mound, batting 9th.
And the defense for the Mets, Keith Hernandez back in action. Keith missing a couple of days now at first base. Tuffle, who played first base last night, moving over to second. Elster at shortstop. 72 consecutive errorless ball games. One more and he has the record. And Johnson will be at third. McReynolds in left, Dykstra and Strawberry in center and right. The catcher is Mackie Sasser. The umpire is John McSherry, Jerry Crawford, Williams. John is the head crew. So it will be Kurt Ford to lead it off. He's looking for his first hit of the year. He's been up 6 times so far without a base hit. And the first pitch of the game. Fastball, it's fouled away and strike 1. Phillies in second place. They are 7-5 for the year. They are 1 game back of the Cubs, who lead with a record of 8-4. The Mets are in 6th place in the National League, 4-8 in the year, and they trail by 4 games. And Cohen back again with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ford acquired from the St. Louis Cardinals. And there's that split finger fastball that breaks into the strike zone. 1-2. Fastball fouled away and out of play. So David Cohn, 20-3 on last year's record. 2-0 against the Phillies last year. And again, the split finger. And it's grounded to Tuffle and the throw to first base for the out. So we're underway, 1 away.
Number 28.
That'll bring up Tommy Herr. Tommy Herr, of course, with the majority of his games with the St. Louis Cardinals, traded to the Minnesota Twins, and now with the Philadelphia Phillies, hitting .333, brings a 5-game hitting streak into this game. 7 hits and 22 at-bats. Tommy Herr, a .290 lifetime batter at Shea Stadium. And he gets a fastball, and it's fouled back out of play.
In 3 days, it will be the anniversary, 1-year anniversary of the trade where Tommy Herr went to the Minnesota Twins for Tom Brunansky. And I guess the longer that you have to think about that trade, the stranger it is. Tom Brunansky, an established star with the Cardinals. The Twins couldn't sign Herr, and he was traded to the Phillies.
And this ball popped up in foul territory. Elster over there by the fence, and he makes a one-handed backhand catch. So Elster with a tough chance, and he puts it away. Kevin Elster now has made 234 positive chances. He has not made an error in his 234 coming into this game. That was 235. And he has not made an error in his last 72 games. The record over 1 season, no errors in 72 games. And that is held by Brinkman, who did it in the American League.
72 games with the Detroit Tigers back in 1972.
And he handled 331 chances without an error. The record is held by Buddy Kerr, 383 chances without making an error. And Buddy presented Kevin Elster with a special trophy here before the ball game. Buddy is
and he didn't drop it. Neither one of them dropped it.
Well,
right?
I'll tell you, I saw Buddy play. I played against him. He could catch it. Back in 1946-47, he went into that great streak where he handled all those chances. 331 without an error. And Chris James takes that pitch to count 2 balls and 1 strike. James hitting .453 for the year. 1 home run, 9 runs batted in. And he brings a 6-game hitting streak into this game. 11 for 26. He has not done well at Shea, as you can see, but he hasn't been around much. He's going to be a fine ball player. Might already be there. Ground ball to Elster. Nice hop there. And he handles his first ground ball without any problems at all. So a 1-2-3 inning for David Cone. And the score at the end of 1/2 inning. Philadelphia nothing. The Mets coming up. And here's a word from the 9X Yellow Pages.
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
Here's to you, America.
Dodge interrupts this commercial for an important announcement. 0% financing on every new 1989 car and selected pickup in stock. That's right, 0%.
You, America. Here's to the red, white, and blue. You were there for Dodge. Now Dodge is here for you. Here's to you, America.
Nothing's too good for my baby. Nothing. So my baby gets very special treatment.
There's a gasoline so special, it even exceeds BMW's detergency standard.
Fill it up. Ultra.
Sunoco Ultra 94. Clean power from the highest octane under the sun. Nothing else can match it.
Nothing.
What does buying with confidence mean? Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. That's buying with confidence. Nobody beats the Whiz.
Well, Steve Ontiveros on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies, not related to the Steve Ontiveros that played in the major leagues as an infielder. He has a record of 2-0 this year, a very fine ERA of 0.60. He's walked 2, struck out 8, given up 10 hits in his 15 innings of work this year.
And the lineup for the Mets: Lynn Dykstra, Tim Tuffle, Keith Hernandez, the top 3. Darryl Strawberry, followed by Kevin McReynolds, Howard Johnson batting 6th tonight. Mackie Sasser, Kevin Elster, and David Cone batting 9th.
And the defense for Ontiveros. Jordan is at first base. At second base, Thon at short, and Schmidt at third. James Hayes and Ford in the outfield, left to right. The catcher is Dalton. And Ontiveros with his first pitch against the Mets, and it's low for ball 1. Dykstra hitting .273 for the year. He has no home runs, 2 runs batted in. Last year he hit at .270 with 8 home runs. And it's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Mookie Wilson started the first 2 games in center field against Philadelphia. So with a right-hander going here, it's Lenny Dykstra. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes.
Even though Steve Ontiveros is 2-0 on the season, he is nursing a sore right elbow. Mike Maddox, the right-hander, who, as you know or may know, is the brother of Greg Maddox of the Chicago Cubs, is ready to pitch should Ontiveros' elbow flare up. So Nick Leva, the manager of the Phillies, and the pitching coach, Darrell Knowles, will be watching Steve very closely tonight.
He had an arm operation last winter for that right elbow, bone chips and ligaments. Released by the Oakland Ball Club and signed to a minor league contract by the Phillies, and that pitch walks Lenny Dykstra, so the Mets have the first base runner.
We're going to see Kevin Elster, and as Ralph said, that was a rather routine play for Kevin to end the top of the first, but watch how he feels this ball. That double clutch right there may be an indication that Kevin is certainly aware that tonight, if he goes through an errorless game, that he will have the major league record. And there's Buddy Kerr on the left, who presented the award to Kevin before tonight's game. He could stand at the top. Most consecutive errorless games. Oh, yeah, I would think so. You say you're not worried about individual achievement and that you care about the team, but you may never get another shot at something like this, right?
No one has. You only get one shot at it.
Right.
He's gotten right to the top. 72 games without an error. Dykstra short lead at first base, and Tuffle takes again, and ball 2. So Ontiveros having problems with his control.
He had walked only 2 in 15 1/3 innings coming in. Soreness in an elbow or a shoulder can show up in different ways. A lot of times you try to nurse your elbow and you end up throwing balls out of the strike zone. That may be Steve's problem right now.
Last year with Oakland, he won 3 and lost 4 in 10 game starts. And ball 3. Tuffle hitting .438 so far this year with no home runs, 2 runs batted in. He's been up 16 times. Had 2 hits in last night's ball game. Nick Leva, the new manager. There goes the runner on the 3-0 pitch. And Dykstra's running with a pitch when the count was 3-0.
And the obvious reason, I mean, the obvious reason that you don't want to run there, but Lenny did, is because the pitcher can't find the plate. I guess one of the things in favor of running in that situation, even though it's highly unusual, as Ralph said, is that the pitcher's so concerned with getting the ball over the plate, he doesn't pay any attention to you. But I guarantee you better not get thrown out in that situation.
Would you say that's the element of surprise?
It surprised everybody.
Davey Johnson, I'll tell you that.
Sure did. No stolen base, obviously, because the ball was low to Tuffle. 8 out of 9 balls now thrown by Ontiveros.
And it brings up Keith Hernandez. Keith hitting .216 this year with 1 home run, 3 runs batted in. He was part of the 3 players who had back-to-back home runs in the first game of the series. 6th time the Mets have done it in their history. And the first time it was ever done here at Shea Stadium. Darryl Strawberry, then Kevin McReynolds, and then Keith Hernandez. All off of the left-hander Don Carmen. 1 strike to count, and a fastball for a ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ontiveros was brought to camp on a minor league roster, given a chance to go to spring training. He pitched so well in spring training that he was signed to the major league roster and now has a record of 2-0. Big surprise. And the breaking ball out of the strike zone, 2-1. Darryl Strawberry, the on-deck batter. Mets with runners at first and second, no one out. Both runners reaching first base on walks. And it counted 2-1 to Keith Hernandez. There go the runners. The ball hit down to third. Schmidt has a play at third and tags it back, lobs it to first and gets away. On his way to third base is Tuffle. And on the play, the Phillies get it out with the Mets running on the pitch.
Hit and run. Davey Johnson taking a page from what the Phillies did last night. Chris James was successful last night, but had the hit and run not been on here, Schmidt probably doesn't get to that ball. Hernandez has a double, and the Mets are on top. It's probably going to be an error on Schmidt's throw, allowing Tuffle to go to third. Watch Schmidt step on third, and then because of the arm problem, Schmidt having that shoulder operated on last year, he does not have a strong arm. The throw a short hop, Jordan can't come up with it, and Tuffle moves to third. So a throwing error on Mike Schmidt.
So now runners at first and third, and Darryl Strawberry the batter, and he takes a called strike on the curveball for strike 1. Strawberry hitting .311 for the year with 4 home runs, 8 runs batted in. Darryl has half of the home runs the Mets have so far this year. All of the Mets home runs have been solo home runs. And he starts to swing the ball in the dirt. He holds up. And we'll see how that one's called.
Phillies haven't asked for an appeal from Charlie Williams at third. I'm surprised. because it looked like Darrell may have gone around on that play. But no appeal. They're not going to offer an appeal. You've got to ask them.
Got to ask. Umpires cannot make that call unless they're asked for it. There's a ground ball to second. It should be two. There's one. And the other. The Mets get 2 walks and don't score, as they had 2 men on with no one out. In the inning, no runs, and the score at the end of 1. Philadelphia nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
He's got 2 baby girls in his arms. His wife's holding another baby girl, and the woman is pregnant. So I hold one child. I help the mother into the Sierra.
The four-door?
Of course the four-door. They've got 109 kids, these people. The father is poring over the sticker. He's nodding and smiling. The mother is saying how beautiful she thinks the car is. And I got Natalie crawling on the roof, Annette in the back seat, Cindy in my arms. I'm like the old woman in the shoe. So I sidle over to the father. I nod towards the mother. I say, is it going to be a boy or a girl? And he says, give you one guess.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that. Yeah.
Unlike other copier companies, at Meter, we only have one thing on our mind. Meter, or we make a great copiers.
Tell you, with Mike Schmidt coming up, got to realize that Schmidt would not have covered third base on the hit and run by Hernandez had Dykstra not been running at second. But because Linney was running, Schmidt had to go over to field the base, the position. And because of that, he makes a rather routine catch out of the ball that Hernandez hit. But the throw was caught Jordan in between, and Tuffle went to third, but then Strawberry grounded into 2.
This ball pulled foul deep down the line by Mike Schmidt. It's a long strike for strike 1.
Tell you, Ralph, the Mets have not been hitting the ball well, but that was a case of just hitting into a little tough luck, because that ball's probably a double for Hernandez if the hit and run's not on. Sometimes that happens.
Well, you pointed out last night the Phillies pulled that play.
Yeah.
Johnson covered, and James hit the ball right through the vacated position of Johnson and got an RBI and moved the runners up. So that's why this game is so hard to figure out.
I don't think I've seen back-to-back hit and runs with runners at first and second in 25 years.
That used to be Casey Stengel's favorite play, but it's not put on very often.
No, it's really not. It's a play that's talked about a lot in spring training, but not executed a lot during the season.
2-strike count to Mike Schmidt, and this one popped up into shallow right field. Tuffle making the call, and he makes the catch. So Mike Schmidt pops up to the second baseman. Schmidt hitting .250 before the out with 4 home runs, 11 runs batted in.
Number 9. Center fielder, Von Hayes.
In last night's ball game. And that will bring up the hottest batter in baseball. Von Hayes, the batter. He is number 1 in the major leagues in hitting at .476, on base average at .571, number 1 in slugging at .929, number 1 in walks with 12, tied for runs scored with a total of 12. So Von Hayes, the batter for the Philadelphia Phillies. And the fastball, ball 1. Von Hayes has hit in 3 different positions in the batting order in this 3-game series. Batted second in the first game, batted leadoff in the second game, and now is hitting 5th in this 3rd game.
That's a trick. Hitters try to do that, and then if you hide yourself that way, so they don't know who's hitting.
He's too tall to hide, I'll tell you that. 6'6". And I don't think I've ever seen a leadoff batter that tall. And he batted a leadoff in yesterday's ball game. 3-0 to Von Hayes. No score in the ball game. One man out. We're in the top of the second.
He's got to be hitting here.
And it looked like he was, but he didn't like the pitch and took it in the count 3-1.
He thought that ball was inside. That's how much action Cone has on his fastball. He wouldn't have had that type of move if he was taking all the way, I don't think.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, and he gets a fastball and pops it foul. It'll be out of play. Even though the Mets won 100 games last year, they had problems with the Phillies. Phillies won only 65 games last year, but they played the Mets very tough. The Mets won 10 of the 18 played. Here at Shea Stadium, the Mets won 6 of the 9. Philadelphia finishing 35 and a half games back of the Mets last season. Now they are 1 game out of first, and there's ball 4, so Philadelphia gets their first base runner. That puts a runner on with 1 out and brings up Ricky Jordan. Jordan batting .267 this year with 1 home run, 7 runs batted in. Batted .308 in 69 games for the Phillies with 11 home runs. Came up from Maine where he was batting .308. And the breaking ball gets away from Sasser, and Von Hayes goes down to second. So evidently Sasser crossed up on that pitch as he goes out to the mound to talk it over with his pitcher, David Cone.
Well, why would he be crossed up without a runner at second base? And it sure looked like he was. That should be a pass ball, because that ball should have been handled by Mackey. But it looked like he really got his hands crossed up along with the signs. And that's an indication that he was looking for something else. They haven't scored it yet, but it should have been a pass ball. Only time you're going to change signs is with a runner at second.
And a wild swing off the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maybe he forgot what he put down. That happens occasionally.
I'll tell you, I did that several times. You put down fingers, and then here comes the pitch, and you're saying, what did I call now? You don't have long to think about that.
We used to have a catcher, Clyde McCullough. There's a play on it second, not close. And we used the addition of signs. In other words, the 1 finger would be 1. You put down 2 fingers, that would be 3. And then say 2 more fingers, that would be 5.
Add one to what you have down. Yeah.
And sometimes McCullough wouldn't add up correctly. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And it's grounded to third through the hole by Johnson, who is moving toward the foul line. On the play, Von Hayes does not go right away, and he has to go to third and hold there.
I saw that, and I don't know whether Hojo could have had a play at that ball, but it was strange, him moving toward the third base bag when the ball was hit. Usually you don't see that. Third baseman trying to get everything, but I don't think Hojo could have caught this ball. This ball hit sharply through the left side. But you see Johnson moving toward the third base bag. I think what happens when catchers do that, Ralph, is their concentration level is such that you just run into a mental block. I know it sounds strange. How can you not know how many fingers you're putting down? Maybe you ought to look at them.
And the pitch here is foul back as Darren Dalton swings away. Fastball foul back out of play. Dalton with a home run last night to give the Phillies a 2-0 lead. They were never headed.
You'd think if you look at them, maybe you wouldn't do that, right? You'd know.
You got to know what fingers you're good at putting down.
I'm just kidding. But if you look at them, you surely couldn't cross yourself up, right?
And the breaking ball for a ball, 1-1. Runners at first and third, 1 out, no score. Philadelphia threatening here in the second. Aaron Dalton hitting .259 with 4 home runs, and he has driven in 10. Jordan, the runner at first base, draws the throw. The Phillies have had 5 stolen bases in 8 attempts this year. They're not really running.
That, by the way, has been scored a wild pitch. That was a tough wild pitch for David Cone. Now, if Hayes scores on a sacrifice fly, it's an earned run.
And again, the breaking ball. This time Sasser digs it out. 2 balls, 1 strike.
If it were scored a pass ball and Hayes scores on a sacrifice fly for the only run in the inning, it would have been an unearned run.
Last year, David Cone was second in the National League in earned run average. Second to Joe McGrane, and he lost that title his last game of work in the season. And there's ball 3, 3 balls and 1 strike. You're watching Mets baseball 89 on WWOR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Three and 1 to Dalton, a pretty good hitter. He goes after that fastball and misses. 3 and 2. Well, a decision here for the manager of the Phillies whether or not to have his runner in motion on a 3-2 pitch.
I got to send him. Bottom part of the order. Even if you get a walk, you got your 8th and 9th place hitters up. Stay out of the double play that way. If Dalton hits the ball sharply, then you got to run. I send him.
I go with that. We'll see how Leyva does it. He has a runner going. It's a curveball, a strike ball. Go down to second is perfect, but just not in time. Good catch in the ball by Kevin Elster, who was a shade late in getting there.
And I think that was because of the swing by Dalton, or I beg your pardon, to see how the play developed. If you're a shortstop or a second baseman, you have to see the call by the umpire. From a catcher's standpoint, you want a quick call from the umpire, and John McSherry, sure enough, fired up that right hand. But Ricky Jordan has a stolen base. But the big thing from the Mets standpoint is Hayes didn't score on the play.
So that puts runners at second and third and 2 out, and there's Vaughn Hayes at third. He's not about to score. And the batter, Dickie Thon, gets a breaking ball for ball 1. Thon hitting 167. He's 6 for 36 with 2 runs batted in. Thon has hit well against the Mets in his major league career, batting .314 against them. Again, the curveball. He won't get much to hit here with the pitcher coming up next. First base is open. They appeal the check swing, and first base umpire Jerry Crawford said he did not swing.
I'll tell you, Ralph, that's a good point and a double-edged sword, because if you pitch around him here, you're going to pitch around him with breaking balls, and that's why Davy Johnson's seen enough. He said Thon's not biting, and the point being that Cone's got such a good breaking ball that you could end up with a wild pitch. Cone has thrown 3 wild pitches in his 3 starts. So Davy Johnson, I think, shrewdly making this move. There's no sense in trying to pitch around the guy when you've got a pitcher out there with too good a breaking ball. You want to get a wild pitch and give him a run.
He also has a inexperienced catcher.
Yeah, that's right. So all the elements add up to an intentional walk, and that's what Davy did.
So we have the bases loaded. Vaughn Hayes at third, Jordan at second, and Thon at first, and the pitcher, Steve Ontiveros. He makes a good bunt, fielded by Johnson. The throw to first base is in time for the out as Johnson makes a bare hand grab of that ball and makes a throw that really took off. Keith Hernandez making a good catch at first on that sailing throw. In the inning, the Phillies threaten, do not score, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings. The Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Nissan.
Located on the field level in the right field corner.
To Nissan, a truck race is nothing more than a learning experience. It's just another day spent working out the bugs in a new suspension, tweaking an engine to get more horsepower, or figuring out which chassis design can withstand the most stress. Well, sure, we've won a couple of 100 races, including the championship at the last Baja 1000. But the fact is, as long as we learn something, we don't really care if we win. Yeah, right.
Next business trip. Feel the Hyatt touch.
The magic touch.
Where can you get a complete family meal with the unique taste of Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Not here. Cross the road, cross the road.
Where can you get a deal on 10 pieces of original recipe chicken made with the Colonel's secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, plus hot mashed potatoes and gravy, fresh coleslaw, and 4 buttermilk biscuits?
Not here. Cross the road, cross the road.
And where can you get a 10-piece family meal for just $12.99? Why, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Where else?
Cross the road to Kentucky Fried Chicken, yeah.
Must be time for Rollin Smith.
Weeknights at 10 on Channel 9 News.
Well, this copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets, Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, and WWR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited. Well, the other day, the Mets had back-to-back-to-back home runs, and it has been done 6 times by the Mets. It was done 1 time only against the Mets, and that was by the St. Louis Cardinals, and one of the men that was involved, Tim McCarver, coming in for the play-by-play.
Nice little lead in. Kenny Boyer with a grand slam home run. Then Bill White, the National League president, hit a home run. And I hit a home run, all on 3 pitches. And you know what? That's the most runs that can be scored on 3 pitches. As Kevin McReynolds rips one to left, and nice play by Chris James, 1 away. 1 out here in the scoreless game, bottom of the 2nd inning, and here is Howard Johnson coming up. And I guess the bench and Keith Hernandez and everybody in the ballpark held their breath when Howard Johnson fielded that bunt by Steve Olivares. And the base is loaded, but Hojo rose to the occasion.
The other night when he made a throw to first that was accurate, he got a standing ovation. Crowd really into this ball game,
and he took it so well too. He was laughing about it. Yeah,
did a nice job.
Low to Howard. Hojo batting .269. He had a home run on opening day against who else? Todd Worrell of the Cardinals.
4 home runs and 10 at bats against Todd Worrell.
Low, ball 2. Ontiveros walked Dykstra and Tuffle to lead off the game, and after a fielder's choice with runners at first and third, because of an error by Mike Schmidt, Darryl Strawberry grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. The Phillies threatened in their half of the 2nd, but the play by Johnson squelched it, and it's 3-0 to Hojo. Strike 1.
Ontiveros wearing a number that certainly was made famous here at Shea Stadium by a Mets player.
Yeah, it's someplace else in this park, isn't it?
It's sitting out there.
Not worn by a Met tonight. Tom Seaver's number, and there it is. Gil Hodges, Casey Stengel, and Tom Seaver, the only 3 numbers retired by the Mets. And the announcement today, I guess on cue, along with Richie Ashburn, who is an announcer on the Phil's network. Number 1, Robin Roberts, number 36, and Steve Carlton will have his number retired July 29th, as Steve officially announced his retirement this afternoon. So the great left-hander who won 331 games will have his number 32, retired July 29th at Veterans Stadium. There goes Johnson. Fastball is high, the throw is low, and a good play by Tommy Herr backing up. Stolen base, number 3 for Johnson.
Well, the Mets with runners at first and second put on a hit-and-run play with Keith Hernandez. It didn't work, but it was an idea and a good one. And here they have Hojo in motion right away, so Davey Johnson trying to get some aggression in the ball club. And he has the runner going. Throw is way off line. And the Mets get a stolen base. Their 11th stolen base in 17 tries.
In fairness to Dalton, Johnson had a tremendous jump from first base. Outside, it's 2 balls and no strikes to Mackey Sasser. Mackey looking for his first hit of the year. He's 0 for 4. Batted .300 last year and 111 at bats for the Mets. Popped up in the infield. Tommy Herr, the second baseman. makes the play. 2 outs, and the batter Kevin Elster. So now Nick Leyva is really faced with a similar situation that Davy Johnson was in the top half of this inning.
First base open, a runner in scoring position, and he has the option of walking Elster to pitch to the pitcher.
Shortstop Kevin Elster.
Tell you, if you're ever out at a ballpark, as you see Nick Leyva, John Vukovich to his right, that's actually Darrell Knowles standing. John Vukovich sitting on the corner there, and he's directing, giving defensive signals. And if you're ever out at the ballpark and you're peering into the opposition's dugout or the visiting team's dugout, just check out some of the defensive signals. They're very interesting. Outside and low, ball 1 to Kevin Elster.
We never had those when I was playing in Pittsburgh with those bad ball clubs because the guys wouldn't get them anyway.
We talked about catchers being crossed up. You don't want to cross up your infield, right?
Right.
Curve on the corner. Strike 1, 1-1. There's Vukovich. Now he's bringing someone in. It looks like Von Hayes. Tony Taylor, the Philly great. Boy, what a great player he was for a long, long time. And Von Hayes, the center fielder, moving in. There's Tony, number 12. Curve, swing and a miss, 1-2 to Elster.
That's a pretty good curveball right there. A lot of movement. Hard to believe that he was released.
How can you let a guy from Tularosa, New Mexico go? Those New Mexico players you got to keep around for a long time.
That's right. There aren't many of us that came out of New Mexico. I want to tell you, we got to get our roster up. I think they're about 12. Maybe he makes 13. He did move to Scottsdale, Arizona, though.
Lives in Scottsdale now. Steve Ontiveros. Fastball is inside, 2-2. Kevin had a blazing start, has tapered off somewhat, but a lot of hitters would like to taper off to a .310 average. Curveball got him. So the curveball gets Elster. The Mets fail to score in the second. No score after 2, and we're back after this from Budweiser.
For hanging in, for hanging tough, for holding on when the going's rough, for taking charge, for taking pride, for staying true to what's inside, for the far inside of you, for stepping up, for coming through this mud for you. For the smile that's part of you, that extra mile, for coming through this buzz for you.
Coming through for you. Beechwood Age, for the taste so crisp, so clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers.
For coming through this buzz for you. This buzz for you.
This spring's hottest tip? The deals at your Toyota dealer's Spring Challenge sales event. Toyota says 20,000 cars, trucks, and vans must go. So your Toyota dealer is doing it all. Prices may never be lower. Trade-ins may never be better. All with Toyota's biggest spring selection ever, if you act right now. You name your deal. Let your Toyota dealer make it. But you'd better hurry. Toyota's Spring Challenge sales event is going fast.
DHL presents international shipping. Some express companies have just started shipping overseas, and it takes a while to get into the swing of things, like borders, languages, and customs. But DHL's been dealing with all that for 20 years, and you'll find getting a package through customs is a lot easier when you ship with someone who knows the ropes. DHL, the world's express company.
About 25,000 on hand. Fun at the old ballpark, and it certainly has not been a lot of fun for the Mets lately. They have really struggled. Last in the National League East with a 4-8 record. No score here in the third, and Curt Ford leads it off. He grounded to second in the first. Wanted to bunt. He takes a strike. And again, an indication of the moving cone fastball.
Has a good curveball and a couple of varieties off of that. He's got that Laredo curveball and a Laredo fastball, meaning he drops down, comes to you out of the south.
Rio Grande area.
That's
huh?
right.
Charlie Williams says Kurt Ford didn't go around. 1-1 to Kurt. Speaking of Laredo, the Phillies have a lot of guys in their lineup tonight that are namesakes of some gangs back in 100 years ago. Easy play for Dykstra. Think of Kurt Ford, Chris James, and Darren Dalton.
Pretty good gangs running around.
Second baseman, Tommy Herr.
What was the name of that gang the Phillies had back in the 60s? They had
the Dalton gang? Yeah, the Dalton gang. Of course, Darren had nothing to do with that.
No, that was before his time.
That was Jim Owens and Turk Farrell.
Turk Farrell. They were some rough and ready boys, weren't they?
Indeed they were. I think Frank Sullivan was a member of that, wasn't he? As Tommy Herr takes a curveball for a strike. He popped to Kevin Elster in the first inning. Elster working on his 73rd consecutive scoreless or errorless game. Pardon me. There's Kevin. 0-1 to Tommy Herr. We talked about it in the first. You think he's thinking about it right now, Ralph?
He's got to be. I mean, you're sitting right on the edge of owning a very prestigious record of 73 games without an error. And the way he handled that one ground ball, it looked like he was a bit apprehensive.
0-2 to Herr.
I know one thing I would be.
I'll guarantee you. It's such a difficult position to play. A lot of managers say you start off defensively with a good shortstop and then a catcher. Then a center fielder. And that's how you establish your strength up the middle. Fastball outside, 1-2 to Herr.
He had some difficult chances last night and handled them all very well to tie the record.
Tommy Herr knows what good fielding's all about. He's the highest percentage fielder in Cardinal history with a .992 average.
And when you think of Red Chandies, who's going into the Hall of Fame, that's a good recommendation.
Julian Javier, another great second baseman for the Cardinals. Tommy Herr, a fine lineage. And he hits this one hard, but Strawberry's there and right, 2 outs.
Well, today in Minnesota, 1988 American League Cy Young Award winner Frank Viola has signed a 3-year, $7.9 million contract with the Twins. He said he had refused to sign, and then the Twins said they took away the offer, but I guess they got back together. Now he will be there for a few years to come. Getting off to that slow start might have made his mind up.
I think from both standpoints, or from both
sides.
Both sides, right. We've looked at life from both sides now. 0-1 to Chris James, who grounded to short. His first at bat. He's never had a hit against David Cone. He's 0 for 16 now, and it's 1-1 to Chris. Fly ball, right field. Tough chance for Strawberry, and he can't make it.
Well, Darrell made a good try for this one.
Yes,
you
sir.
can't blame him for pulling up because you just can't crash into a wall on a ball. It's a foul ball.
Saw what happened to Ron Jones last night.
That was
devastating. Making a good catch in right field, and he's out for 3 months with 2 pulled tendons in his right knee.
There is a time when discretion is a better part of the valor.
Pete Reeser will tell you that, right?
Ruined a great career, Pete Reeser. One of the greatest ball players that ever hit the scene.
That's what I've heard. 1-2 pitch. There's Laredo, and it gets Chris James. Well, he's from Texas. It's appropriate, right?
That's right.
After 2.5, no score. Here at Shea, and we're back after this from Manufacturers Hanover.
I always wanted the best for Amy. This engagement party isn't cheap, but the wedding. 200 guests and only 15 months to go.
Daddy, I love you.
Save hard, Harry. Save hard.
Only Manufacturers Hanover has power savings because your money deserves all the interest it can get.
Media Home Entertainment. A friendship forged by danger.
I'm the lifeguard. You're the drowning man.
Gene Hackman and Danny Glover in a true life adventure.
Gotta get me out of here.
War isn't always about enemies. Bat 21 at video stores now.
Hey, kids, try this one on for size. On Sunday, May 7th, when the Mets play the Houston Astros, all fans 14 years and under will receive a terrific Mets jersey, courtesy of Cons. The attractive blue and white shirt sleeve shirt features the Mets script logo in front and the #1 logo in back. Game time for Cons Kids Jersey Day is 1:35 p.m. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Mets baseball, excellence again and again. Well, Mets fans, as you know, the second snapper calendar day was rained out, but you can still receive your 1989 Mets calendar on Sunday, April 23rd, when the Mets play the Chicago Cubs. That's this Sunday. Game time is at 1:35 p.m. For ticket information, call 718-507-TIXX.
Well, an absolutely perfect night for baseball, and David Cone hasn't been perfect, but he has not allowed a hit in 3 innings. No score. We're in the bottom of the third, and he'll lead it off here in the 3rd inning. David 1 for 5 on the early season.
You know, talking about perfect, there has never been a no-hitter pitched by a Mets pitcher.
Much less a perfect game. And right through the legs, actually off on the side of Dickie Thon. He tried to short hop that ball. A very difficult chance, I might add.
This is the toughest play for a shortstop. Last night he made this play and got the out. It's a do-or-die play. You got to charge it. And you got to hope the hop comes into your glove, and it didn't that time. It's being scored as a base hit. Dickie Thon, the shortstop for the Phillies, was at San Diego last year.
I'd like to correct that, by the way. I said that Cone had not given up a base hit. He has given up a base hit, and on cue, he just got the Mets' first base hit, as Dykstra is the batter. He walked in the first. 1-0 to Lenny. I walked in the training room, the Mets training room, before the game, as I always do before a game, to check with Steve Garland and Bob Sykes about the injury list. John McSherry called that a strike. Lenny's saying, I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. It's 1-1 to Dykstra. And Dykstra was in having his ankle taped. And I said, Steve, everybody all right? No injuries? And Lenny said, yeah, my seat's sore.
He doesn't like riding that bench, does he?
No, sir. He laughed about it, but...
That's called kidding on the square.
A liner to left center, and it's going to drop. Cone will stop at second. So just like the first inning, the Mets have runners at first and second and nobody out.
Well, in the first inning, the Mets had 2 walks to lead off the ball game and then did not score. And right here they have 2 base hits, and this ball dropping in front of Chris James. Well hit ball by Dykstra, and Lenny now has been on the 2 at bats.
That's good for your seat, those base hits the other way.
That'll keep you standing up.
It certainly will. Let's see what Tim Teufel does here. Would you bunt right here, Ralph? 3rd inning, having
no,
a
I
tough
would
time
not
scoring?
bunt.
Okay.
Teufel's one of the hot batters the Mets have. 1 of 2, really. Elster extremely hot for a while, now cooling down, but Teufel has been hitting extremely well.
You know, it appears that Schmidt and Jordan both are looking for a bunt. Schmidt in at 3rd, Jordan in at 1st. Neither can throw real well. And he squares around, and it's by Dalton. You talk about a cross-up. That had to be a cross-up.
Ball went right over his head, and he looked like he was down looking for a breaking ball. That takes the butt off right there.
I don't think he laid a mitt on it, did he?
No. Let's look at it again. Tuffle does square around. And it's a fastball. Dalton was looking for the breaking ball.
I tell you, that's a frightening feeling when you're looking for the local and you get the express.
How about the umpire, John McSherry? He's got the duck, too.
That's right. So the wild pitch moves runners at second and third. The infield back for the Phillies. 1-0 to Tuffle. Ball 2, 2-0. Nobody out. No score. We're in the third. Cone at third. Dykstra at second. On the outside corner. Good pitch. 2 balls and a strike to Tuffle.
That's a good pitch for Tuffle to take. That pitch was a pitcher's pitch. Too tough to hit well. And he's in a position here to really drive the ball. So you guess the way you want it. If you don't get it, take it. That pitch right on the outside corner. That's good hitting.
Interesting thought. Taking is good hitting. And you're exactly right. Slider tapped toward third. Schmidt to first to get Tuffle. Cone scores. Dykstra remains at second. That's a little strange because he knew the runner at third was going. The tapper to Schmidt. Nobody was at third.
Nobody there, and Schmidt had 2 options. One to come home, the other to go to first. They had no play at third, and Dykstra didn't take advantage of it. And right here is good evidence of Schmidt's arm. He had an arm operation last year, and he cannot throw the ball at all. He had a play if he could have fired the ball home. He didn't. He took the option at first, and the throw over there, a lob throw, and he used to have one of the great arms.
So Schmidt makes the play. The Mets score a run, but Dykstra remains at second. It's 1-0 Mets. Hernandez grounded sharply to Schmidt on a hit and run play in the first inning. Ball and no strikes to Hernandez. Mex entered the game batting .216 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Curve and a beauty. 1-1 to Keith.
Ontiveros has a fine curveball. You can see the really good breaking action on that pitch. He has one of those tough curves to hit. Used to be called a drop. It's that overhand curveball, and if you got one of those and get it over, you can win.
I think a breaking ball like that's probably more descriptive to be called a drop because that's what it does. It doesn't curve, it falls. 1-1 to Hernandez. Tight, ball 2.
Like a ball dropping right off the table.
1-0 New York. 1 out, 1 on. We're in the third. Rubber game of this 3-game series. The Mets won the first one Monday night 5-2. The Phillies last night 7-1. Throw to second, and Dykstra back. Lenny looking at third base coach Sam Perlazzo as though to say, why didn't you tell me? I mean, you can watch the second baseman. The guy you're worried about at second's the shortstop. Dykstra broke back then as Herb broke towards second.
Of course, Ontiveros made the mistake of pitching that ball with her out of position.
Right. Perlazzo giving hand signals to Dykstra down there now, saying, you watch the second baseman, I'll watch the shortstop. That's
can't watch the shortstop because he's right in back of him.
Right. Ground ball, base hit, right field. Dykstra will try to score. The throw is high, safe at second base. I beg your pardon, out at home as Darren Dalton blocking home plate. I don't know whether Dykstra got a hand in or not, but Dykstra out at home. Hernandez safe at second.
Well, McSherry made the call of out. Davy Johnson disagrees with him. The question here is, did he tag him? And the other side of the question is, did Dykstra get his hand on the plate? Well, Tommy Herr was totally out of position at second. And that ball going right through where he should have been.
You're right there. 100% correct. Herr's worried too much about Dykstra.
And in this case, it might have paid off as Dykstra didn't get around to score. But he certainly gave up a hit to Keith Hernandez, and the tag by Dalton. And McSherry says he got him.
I'll tell you, they're going to walk Strawberry intentionally to get to McReynolds. I think Dykstra beat the throw or the tag, but did he touch home plate? I think that's a question. Strawberry walked intentionally. That'll put runners at first and second with 2 outs, but I think your point's well taken. Even though Herr was out of position, Dykstra had to be close at second. So Hernandez gets the hit, but Dykstra's thrown out at home because he didn't have a good jump off a second.
Well, when you're not winning, these are the things that happen to you. And Dykstra looked like he got in there.
I don't know.
He tagged the plate. He doesn't come back. He stays there. And McSherry calls the call here like he tagged Dykstra. Dykstra didn't appear to touch the plate.
He really didn't, did he? That foot, I don't know how he could have touched the plate unless he touched the first base corner or the corner of home plate closest to first. Here's McReynolds.
Keith Hernandez, a good job going down to second on the high throw. It couldn't be cut off. So he did get into scoring position.
We have had a lot of activity so far, only in the 3rd inning. It's only a 1-0 ball game. High, ball 2, 2-0 to Kevin. He flied sharply to left in the 2nd inning. Curveball, and McReynolds lays off, but it's a strike, 2-1. We understand that Dykstra was getting his hand sprayed in the dugout, which would indicate that he made contact with Dalton's right foot. Whether it was contact with his foot and the plate, we don't know, but John Sherry, the guy who had to make the call, called him out. 2-2 to McReynolds. Another thing you can go back to, if Dykstra's on 3rd base,
yeah, then he scores.
Then he scores easily.
That was the start of the mistake.
Schmidt charging with runners at 2nd and 3rd. If the pitcher, David Cohn, can score coming home, Dykstra's got to be able to see Mike Schmidt in front of him to go to 3rd, and then you don't have the problem. 2-2 to McReynolds. Little looper toward the Mets dugout. Nobody can get to it. How many times you see 3 guys sliding for a ball? Bermuda Triangle.
That's almost like Babe Herman when 3 guys ended up on 3rd base. Babe Herman playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time. Here comes the pitcher over to slide in. Now Jordan with his little half slide, and the catcher Dalton making a slide. Actually, they do that to keep from getting hurt. That's the only way you can stop.
How many times do you ever see a pitcher sliding to try to make a play?
Randy Myers might.
Roger McDowell might. Doc Gooden might. Ron Darling might. 2-2 to McReynolds. High, ball 3. So with the count 3-2, 2 out. McReynolds, the batter. Strawberry at first and Hernandez at second, and they'll be off. 1-0 ball game. Mets on top. We're in the 3rd inning. Runners going, and McReynolds fighting off a tough curveball.
Now there's a good lesson to be learned right there. With runners at 1st and 2nd and a dangerous hitter at the plate, you're going to get the breaking ball anytime from Monteveres. So you, when you're a hitter, have to know that. He's not afraid to throw the curveball in that spot.
Runners going again, and the curveball again, and Dalton thought it was a strike.
Wow.
Well, looking at it from up here, I got to say, where in the world was that pitch?
But before, in this sequence of pitching to McReynolds, he called a curveball that really looked low a strike. So they say they even out. Right here, this pitch does look like it's in the strike zone. Breaking right into it. That ball was a strike.
That's strike 3. So the Mets had 1 run scoring chance, squelched, and now have come back from the dead with that call. The 3-2 pitch that certainly appeared to be a strike, but the base is loaded, and now Howard Johnson up. He walked and stole second in the second. Curveball hit hard to center field, and Von Hayes is there. Well, what an exciting inning that was. Lots happening out here at Shea. 1-0 Mets after 3, and we'll be back after this from Bridgestone Tires.
Got rain, wet, bumps and humps, curves, mud, holes and lumps, all the ruts and rocks that you're up against. You need Bridgestone, Bridgestone confidence.
With just a finger's width of tire between you and the road, you need world-class technology, quality engineered to give you Bridgestone confidence.
No matter what, it just makes sense. You can't drive today without confidence. Bridgestone confidence.
This is Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice. No other major brand comes closer to this than this. Now this is Tropicana Pure Premium Home Style for those who like juicy bits of orange in their juice. So if you like the taste plus the feel of fresh squeezed, no one comes closer to this than this. Tropicana Pure Premium. Either way, you just can't pick a better juice.
Pan Am's summer sale fares to Europe are so low, you'd have to go to a lot of trouble to get there for less. From May 7th to June 28th, you can fly Pan Am to London at an incredible summer sale fare and get sale fares to many other cities. Just buy your ticket by May 1st, before airfares to Europe get out of sight.
I'm Michael York. Join me for a live television event, The Hunt for Stolen War Treasures.
Live, Monday at 8 on Channel 9.
Steve Ontiveros sitting next to the strength guru of the Phillies, Gus Heffling, on his left. Floyd Yeomans to his right. Floyd obtained by the Phillies from the Montreal Expos. 1-0 ball game. We're in the 4th inning, and in to call it for you, Steve Zabriskie. How you doing tonight? Isn't this a great game?
I'll tell you, that was a very interesting inning.
It really was, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. And when you think not only about what happened, but the possibilities of what might and could have happened.
I mean, it's staggering that it's a 1-0 ball game right now. It's been played like it should be like 6-4 or something.
Bases loaded by each team. But it's 1-0 New York as the Mets got 1 in the 3rd. And here's Mike Schmidt to lead off the 4th inning. He popped out his first time up in the 2nd inning to Tim Tuffle at second base. Schmidt 1 hit away from tying the Phillies all-time record as he swings through the fastball, strike 1. Richie Ashburn, now a Philly broadcaster, longtime Philly broadcaster, has the club record, 2,217 hits. So Mike at 2,216. And he won't get it here as he pops it up in the infield. It's Tuffle and Elster converging, Tuffle calling, and there's 1 out. And tonight's game is being brought to you in part by your Lincoln Mercury dealers and by Reebok, the physics behind the physiques. Appropriate that we showed a shot of Gus Heffling there.
Yeah.
Physiques. Ooh. Gus has an unusual workout regimen that a lot of guys follow.
Yes, sir.
I tried it. Look what it's done for me.
He has put a lot of years on a lot of players' careers, I'll tell you.
Why doesn't it work for me?
You're not a player.
You got that right.
Might have helped you live longer. We'll never know.
And we have no control group to compare it to.
There's Buddha.
There he is.
He's a good man right there. Nickname, of course.
And appropriate. Von Hayes walked his first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a fastball for strike 2. Hayes says it's the influence of the Phillies' new hitting instructor, Dennis Menke, that has him off to a fast start. And if you have seen him in the past and you watch his stance now, he is really far less spread out than he used to be. He rips one by Hernandez, by Tuffle, a base hit to right field.
So you don't see too many right-handed pitchers drop down to left-handed hitters. And the reason for that is you don't get any movement. Watch the drop-down effect. So David Cone doing that to Mike Schmidt, but it's different doing it to a right-hander because you get a little movement in the hips. But left-handers, that doesn't get any movement at all.
Ricky Jordan, the batter, he singled his first time up, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Former Met Rusty Staub, when he has seen David Cone do the Laredo to left-handed hitters, wishes he had a bat in his hands because he feels that strongly about not throwing that pitch to left-handers. Very close play at first, but Hayes is back.
You don't have as much action on the pitch, generally speaking, when you drop down. That's why they tell pitchers to stay on top. But you sacrifice movement against right-handers to get them to move a little bit. And that's what dropping down does. It's a different release point. So it may be a little tougher for a right-hander to pick up, but not a left-hander from a right-handed pitcher.
Hayes running, and the pitch is hit high and deep to left, but it'll stay in the ballpark. Hayes will have to go back to first as McReynolds makes the catch. 2 away.
The catcher, Darren Dalton.
Take a look at the Nissan National League scoreboard. 2 games have been completed. Pittsburgh over the Cardinals 7-5 in St. Louis. 4-3 San Diego over San Francisco. Montreal leading Chicago 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Montreal has beaten them 2 in a row, and the Cubs in tomorrow night. 3-0 Houston over Atlanta, and Cincinnati at Los Angeles later on.
Darren Dalton, who was called out on strikes his first time up, looks at ball 1. Dalton with 4 home runs already this year. Last year he hit 1 home run in 144 at bats. A strike on the outside corner, 1-1. It must be the Gus Heffling regime.
Well, the one thing Gus doesn't teach is to go through walls, and that's what Darren tried to do. He broke his right hand August 27th when he tried to punish a brick wall. Other players that have done that, Al Kaline did it and missed the last 6 weeks of the '68 season. Doyle Alexander did it when he was a member of the Yankees. You try to take out your wrath on inanimate objects, but not with your body.
Especially inanimate objects that are immovable. Hayes running again, the pitch in the dirt, and the throw by Sasser not in time. Really a tough play for Mackey Sasser, and Hayes with a good jump in there easily. His 2nd stolen base of the year.
Yeah, not only a good jump, but almost an impossible position from which to throw for Sasser. He actually threw that ball behind Dalton. Even though it's a 1-run ball game, and by putting Dalton on, if you walk him, I don't think Darren's going to see a good pitch to hit. He homered last night. 2-run homer along with Mike Schmidt's 3-run homer. We'll see what Davey's going to do. The Mets only walked 33 players last year. They've issued the fewest intentional walks 3 of the last 4 years.
Indicative of Davey Johnson's managing style, going along too with their hesitancy to bunt quite often. And Dalton fouls it off out of play, and the count goes to 3-2.
He got a fastball. Darren looked as surprised as we did.
It was away from him, and it was a little bit behind it. which is normal if you're surprised. 3-2 with 2 out. Vaughn Hayes at second. Breaking ball, grounded hard and foul. Still a full count.
See why he was surprised at that 3-1 pitch. When you get on the Yellowhammer like that, that curveball, if you had that good a cut on a 3-2 curveball and that poor cut on a 3-1 fastball, you know what you were looking for on the 3-1 count. I mean, he zeroed in on this breaking ball. He knew he was going to get it. He thought he would get it 3-1, knew he was going to get it 3-2.
And he walks. Close pitch, but ball 4. Runners at first and second with 2 out.
The shortstop, Dickie Thon.
Nick Leyva, a protege of Whitey Herzog as his first and then third base coach in St. Louis. And first base coach Tony Taylor talking to Darren Dalton. Here's Dickie Thon, who walked his first time up. Ball 1. Sasser about to talk.
Mackey went out to David. Now Tim Tuffel's going to come in. They may have switched signs, or Tuffel just coming in to ask David. We'd appreciate it if you guys not have any secrets between you. Let us in on it.
You're changing up.
Yeah, let us know.
There are a couple other guys that could be crossed up besides the catcher. The second baseman and the shortstop. Really, all the infielders need to know on occasion whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball with runners on base. Strike on the outside corner makes it 1-1. David Cohn has given up 2 hits. He has walked 3 and struck out 2. Leading 1-0. Slider. The appeal, no, says Jerry Crawford. So it's 2 balls, 1 strike. Grounded to third. Johnson will go to second in time for the force, and the inning is over. The Phillies threaten, but they leave 2 on a hit and a walk here in the 4th inning. Still 1-0 New York in the middle of the 4th. And we're back after this for your Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Now, move into select Mercury models and get 2.9 annual percentage rate financing. Or get $1,000 cash back on Mercury Tracer, $750 cash back on Sable, or $600 cash back on Mercury Topaz and Mercury Cougar LS. Make the move. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Force equals mass times acceleration. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. Power equals work divided by time equals the Reebok cross-training system equals the physics behind the physiques equals Reebok.
In the 34 years I've served, I have not violated any commonly accepted standard of ethical conduct.
He's in trouble. He's going down the drain.
In my opinion, he's been a superb public official.
We have reason to believe that Speaker Wright violated the code of official conduct.
You would have thought that he had shot 4 nuns in the church.
WCBS News 88. Tomorrow morning, you are there because we are there.
At most places, 69 cents won't get you very far. At Taco Bell, 69 cents gets you anything on our value menu.
Make a right
It's time for another Mets memory, and Mets memories are brought to you by The Wiz. It was on this date 1 year ago today. Of course, the balk call was in vogue in the National League and the American League last year. Bobby Ojeda called for a balk by Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire, and not the only balk. 2 balks called on him in 5 innings, 6 runs scored, and Ojeda's reaction was immediate and rather dramatic as he left the field with Davy Johnson. That was kind of spontaneous as well. He'd had it. Get this glove out of here. A Mets memory from 1 year ago today. And remember, nobody beats the Wiz.
And the fan was sitting there saying, what? Now my glove? Oh, probably humming that song, or To Sir with Glove, maybe.
Can you imagine, though, that he's out of sight? He was out of sight of the fans who caught the glove. I mean, here comes his glove out of the dugout.
Yeah, here's a fan on the 3rd row saying, oops, here's a glove. Where'd this come from? What is this glove night?
Guess I didn't get mine when I entered the park.
What a novel night, huh? Get a glove when you know, like in the 5th inning.
Yeah, after you get your seat, they come flying out of the dugout. Mackie Sasser leads it up for New York, and he gets a base hit to left field. Mets leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th, and Sasser, who popped out to second his first time up, picks up the base hit, the 4th for the Mets, off Steve Ontiveros.
Shortstop, Kevin Elster.
Kevin Elster, the batter, he struck out to end the 2nd inning. Kevin trying to get that errorless streak record in his pocket tonight. Strike 1. Breaking ball grounded to 3rd. Schmidt with a play to 2nd for 1. In time for the double play at first base, and Tommy Herr turned it nicely.
Tommy Herr adds so much stability to this Phillies infield. We talked earlier about the strength up the middle. In an effort to get a middle that's stronger, the Phillies have turned Juan Samuel into a center fielder, and he is in uniform tonight, by the way. Plans to start in center field tonight, and it was a very close play at first, but the double play around the horn. But Tommy Herr and Dickie Thon both give the Phillies a lot more depth in the middle.
David Cone swings and misses for strike 1.
It's like Mackie Sasser may have hurt his hand sliding into Herr at 2nd.
Again, evidence that Mike Schmidt's arm is not 100%. He did not make a real strong throw to 2nd, and Herr did a good job of hanging in there with Sasser coming down on him to get the throw off to 1st.
Well, I think in fairness to Mike on that play, he double clutched. He didn't have a good grip on the ball before he made that throw.
And
but the other
also might have been waiting for Herr to get to 2nd.
Yeah, that's right.
The ball was sharply
well,
hit.
even though you have Elster as a right-handed hitter, Herr's going to be cheating. But I think Mike double clutched because he didn't have a good grip on it.
Grounded to 1st. Ricky Jordan with the easy play, and the inning is over. So after the Mets started with a base hit,
comes in the other day, and he starts taking pictures of the Supreme.
The international?
Yeah, he's got the lights in the other day, and he's talking to the car while he says, "You're beautiful, baby. That's perfect. Hold that." Like the car's gonna move, you know? So I said, "Excuse me, Scavulo, would you actually like to buy the Supreme, or you just want the pictures for your coffee table?" And he says, "She's got such a look to her." So I said, "She?" So he puts his hands on the hood of the car, and he says, "Phoebe, I want to spend my life with you."
For taking charge, for taking pride, for showing what you got inside, for taking time, for staying true, for stepping in, for coming through. This was for you.
Beechwood aged for the taste so crisp
crisp and clean, so refreshing, it's the king of beers.
It takes concentration and a steady hand. It's called focus. At Manufacturers Hanover, we focus our global resources to give you intelligent choices. Because today, it's not enough to hit the target. You've got to be able to do it again and again.
I'm Roland Smith. After the game, we'll have the latest on a deadly explosion aboard a battleship, the wine country killer caught in Mexico, and our Atlantic City's casinos a terrorist target.
Mackey Sasser's still in there as
Leading off the pitcher,
he's still checking his hand, however. It is his glove hand, not his throwing hand. Of course, the severity of the injury, at least not enough to cause him to leave the game, as Steve Ontiveros, the Philly pitcher, will lead it off. And Ralph mentioned it earlier, but in case you missed it, he is not related to the infielder of the 70s, also named Steve Ontiveros. Ball one.
Yeah, you can't like be a brother of him because, I mean, you wouldn't have two brothers named Steve Ontiveros. So it'd have to be like a cousin or something, you mean.
Well, I will tell you a story, Timmy, of two guys with the same names who are brothers.
Really?
Yes.
Los friends of yours now?
Former Los Angeles Rams running back Lawrence McCutcheon told a group of reporters when the Rams played the Steelers in the Super Bowl some years back, please don't call me Larry. That's my brother's name. Two brothers, one is Lawrence and one is Larry. I think their mother was in love with that name.
Guess so.
3-0 to Ontiveros, now 3-1. Nick Leva with the signs.
He's got to be taking again. Give David Cohn a chance to throw 2 more strikes. That's what happens when you take 3-1.
Now 3-2. Foul back on a high fastball into. Ontiveros to be followed by Lee Ford and Tom Herr here in the top of the 5th, with the Mets leading the Phillies 1-0. A bouncer to second. Tuffle to Hernandez, 1 away.
Well, we looked at the Nissan National League scoreboard. Let's take a look at the Nissan American League scoreboard. The Yankees, the crosstowners, winning over Toronto. They have not lost a season series in Toronto since 1984. Little note in the paper today, very interesting. 4-2 Yankees over the Blue Jays. 7-5 Oakland over Seattle. And 7-1 Boston over Cleveland. Their game last night rained out. That game only in the bottom of the 4th, so the Red Sox have their offense going. 1-0 Baltimore over Kansas City in the 4th. 1-0 Detroit over Minnesota. That game in the 3rd inning. And just underway, no score, California at Chicago. Same thing, Milwaukee at Texas. Boy, that Texas ball club's 11-2, huh?
Bobby Valentine.
Yeah.
He's got them going. They've got good young players. They've added some guys to what was mostly good young players, and then Charlie Huff. And so far, it's worked.
Two ex-Cubs, Jamie Moyer and Rafael Palmeiro, and the Cubs in tomorrow night. Have a chance to see Harry Carey, Steve Stone, Dwayne Statz, all the WGN crew. Harry and his crew up in Montreal right now. They're losing to the Expos. 3-2 in the 7th inning.
Ford takes ball 3. It's 3-0. And you're watching Mets baseball 89 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey.
Well, you won't hear Harry. What a legend.
3-1.
Into the Hall of Fame this year, and rightly so.
What is it, 44 years? Harry's been
45 years.
45 years.
Yep, this is his 45th year.
Fouled away on the count, 3-2 as Cohn battles back. Well, it can be honestly said of Harry that he is a legend in his own time.
That's exactly right.
That's not a A phrase or a meaningless cliche when it comes to Eric Carroll. Grounded at first. Hernandez with a tough hop makes the play. 2 away.
Keith looking in the dugout. And he's talking about that hop right there. He touches first and then he kind of glares into the dugout right there, and he's looking at someone. But Hernandez with the great feet, great hands, but great feet too, always in a position to make the play. 11 gold gloves.
Well, if that wasn't an advertisement for staying in front of the ball, I don't know what would be. Tom Herr with a base hit to right center field on the first pitch from Cone, and Herr aboard with 2 outs.
Left fielder Chris
Only
James.
the 3rd hit for the Phillies, and it brings up Chris James. James 0 for 2, grounded to short in the 1st, struck out swinging in the 3rd, and in each case he ended the inning. And he's up here with 2 out. Breaking ball a little bit high. Ball 1. James is working on a 6-game hitting streak, over which he'd hit .423 coming into tonight. 1-1.
I asked Chris about his brother Craig, who was a fine running back for the New England Patriots and has really undergone serious operations on his shoulder and knee the last couple of years.
Sharply hit to short. Elster with a tough play makes it very, very nicely to not only end the inning but keep the errorless streak alive. 1 hit, 1 left in the 5th for Philadelphia. Still 1-0 New York. Back for the bottom of the 5th after this for the New York Daily News.
Nobody tells it like the Daily News.
Hey, Cone.
What?
See what Bob Clapper said about your last outing?
He said I kept the ball down.
And Mike Lupica on that new pitch of yours.
Said it has a way to go.
And Bill Madden on your control.
He said my ball really moves.
What about their coverage?
Well, it's tough, but fair. As far as those guys are concerned,
Nobody tells it like the Daily News. Your 14 paper.
In today's hotter running engines, wear is a greater problem than ever before. Oil breakdown can shorten the life of vital engine parts. That's why there's Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, because driving today can be a grind. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Castrol GTX motor oil available at all US 1 auto stores.
Here's to you, America.
Dodge interrupts this commercial for an important announcement. 0% financing on every new 1989 car and selected pickup in stock. That's right, 0%.
You, America. Here's to the red, white, and blue. You were there for Dodge. Now Dodge is here for you. Here's to you, America.
Hey, tell a friend. It's actor James Earl Jones, singer Melissa Etheridge, and 30-somethings Melanie Mayron on the next Arsenio.
Tonight at 12:30, here on Channel 9.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Steve Ontiveros, the starter for the Phillies, working into his 5th inning, trailing as the Mets lead at 1-0. Top of the order here in the bottom of the 5th. And the top guy, Tim McCarthy.
Watch it. Oh, come on, man. Len Dykstra wishing he were the top guy in center field, but the platonic verses will play one more time in 1989. Lenny Dykstra and Mookie Wilson sharing center field. And he takes the ball high. You know, one of the interesting things about their platoon situation is that over the last 2 seasons, Wilson has batted .324 as a left-handed hitter, and Dykstra .287 as a left-handed hitter. High, ball 2. Lenny's played a good ball game. He's 1 for 1 with a walk. 2-0 to Dykstra.
And I'm sure that Mr. Wilson has pointed that up in his effort to play every day. It is obvious, as any player would, desire to play.
You can certainly understand both of their situations. Strike 1, 2-1. Lenny, no home runs this year, but he did hit his 4th postseason home run against the Dodgers last year. That ties him with Rusty Staub and Darryl Strawberry for most home runs by a Mets player in postseason play. 3 balls and a strike to Dykstra. All 3 have 4 home runs in postseason play. And there's a strike, 3-2. 1-0 Mets. Bottom of the 5th inning. 1-4-0 for the Mets. 0-3-1 for the Phillies. Ground ball to first. Jordan. 1 out.
You might have noticed that Lenny Dykstra has a
Second
green
baseman Tim Tuffle.
band of some kind on his right wrist. You see it just above his glove there. I asked him what the significance of it was, and he said, I haven't figured that out yet.
I honestly don't know how to respond to that.
Neither did I. I said,
does he know how it
okay.
got there?
I'm not sure.
Maybe someone put it on. Tim Tuffle now lines to center, base hit. Tuffle has driven in the only run of the game. He did it with an infield out in the 3rd inning. So Timmy with his first hit and the 5th hit for the Mets tonight. That'll bring up Keith Hernandez.
Tuffle entered the game hitting .438. Not enough at bats to qualify in the league standings, and it's obviously plenty early in the season. But he has been swinging a very good bat when he has been in the lineup.
He honestly said that he didn't know.
He said, I have not
figured it out
yet. And I wasn't about to pursue it any farther, because if he hadn't figured it out, I certainly wasn't going to be able to help him.
Hernandez singled with Dykstra at second base in the 3rd inning, and Lenny was thrown out trying to score. A disputed call, argued vehemently by Davy Johnson. Darren Dalton, a good job of blocking home plate with his foot. Dykstra tried to get in there with his hand, and maybe were it not for that thing that he wore on his right arm, he would have made it. We'll never know. 1-0 to Hernandez.
I doubt, however, somehow that he has considered that.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
It's as strong a possibility as anything else we've heard.
1-0 to Hernandez. 1 out with Tuffle at first. Hit and run situation. Tuffle not running, and this one lifted to left field. Easy play for Chris James. 2 outs now in the 5th inning, and Darryl Strawberry the batter.
Right fielder, Darryl Strawberry.
This is the type of pitcher with his type of sinker that Strawberry can hit hard. Now he grounded into a double play on a curveball in the 1st, and he walked intentionally, or was walked intentionally, in the 3rd. We'll see if he gets that low heater. Nope, he got the curveball. 1-0. Even with first base occupied, I don't think catchers and pitchers in the National League are going to be giving in to Strawberry until and if Hernandez and McReynolds start hitting in heated fashion. That's within his range easily. Had a good pitch to hit, and he fouls it off. 1-1. That was the sinker there.
Darrell was out in front of it, which is also an indication he too was looking for it. And sometimes as a hitter, when you are looking for a pitch and you get your pitch, it's true that you can't wait to hit it. Consequently, you foul it off like Darrell did. You get out in front.
That looked like the split finger fastball. It was low. Dalton went to the wiggle. We'll see what Strawberry gets now. It appears one's a fastball, two's a curve. That's as perennial as grass. Something off speed. 2-1 to Strawberry. That looked like a splitter. The throw to first. Tuffle back. 2-2 to Strawberry. That appeared to be the split finger fastball.
And a pretty good one. Watch the ball go down and away from Darrell. Tuffle trying to get a big lead. Darrell tried to go out and get the pitch. Dalton fired it down to Jordan.
Fastball grounded to Jordan right on the bag. No runs, a hit, one left after 5. Cone and Ontiveros. 1-0 Mets. And we'll be back after this from Budweiser.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear for you. The king of beer, so fresh, so true for you. You got the taste, this bud's for you.
It's brewed from the choicest natural ingredients. It's Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. And best of all, it's for you.
You got the taste, this bud's for you.
Bow, bow, bow. Matchmaker, matchmaker, this is no fun. Send me somewhere, I need the sun. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I've got the tent. I'm ready to fish, I got boats to rent.
The genuine New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages gives you the most ads and the most choices. No wonder it's the most used book around.
Show us some sights, 3 days, 2 nights. Make me a perfect match.
The genuine New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. No other book can match it.
Perfect day.
Perfect car.
Perfect husband.
Perfect wife.
This isn't a real family. No real family ever got along this well in a car. It's just the way car companies want you to imagine your family in their cars. Don't buy the wrong car. Don't leave anything to your imagination. Take a test drive in a Saab 900 and do it with your real family.
Lease a Saab 900 from your Tri-State Saab dealer for as low as $273 a month.
Tony Taylor coaching first base for the Phillies tonight. Larry Bowe over at third, and we'll tell you a little story about Tony Taylor as Mike Schmidt leads it off for the Phillies here in the top of the 6th inning. Boy, he could really play the game. Schooled under Gene Mock. Loved Gene Mock. Slider is high. And back in 1964, one of, I think, 14 perfect games pitched, Jim Bunning's perfect game here on Father's Day, Tony Taylor ranged wide to his left to make a terrific play. And I believe the hitter was Jesse Gonder. I'm not sure. Maybe Ralph would know that. But Tony made that play, and that preserved the perfect game for Jim Bunning. And Bunning will tell you to this day that were it not for Tony Taylor, he would not have had the perfect game. High to Schmidt, 3-0, 1-0 Mets. We're in the 6th.
And far, although it may be one of the most memorable and important plays he ever made, it was far from the only great play he ever made.
Boy, he could really play. Broke in with the Chicago Cubs. Had 2 days, actually 2 nights in Philadelphia. Having one is something. But to have 2 in a 4-year span, that means the town in which you play really loves you, and they certainly love Tony Taylor in Scrapple Town. 3-1 to Schmidt. Slider is outside, so Schmidt is on. That's the 4th walk issued by David Cohn. And that'll bring up Von Hayes, who has been red hot.
Center fielder.
It's the first time tonight that the Phillies have had their leadoff man on. No way Hayes is up there to bunt the way he's been swinging the bat. 1 for 1 tonight. Entered the game batting .476.
His last at bat, we talked about how much closer together his feet are this year than the extremely exaggerated wide stance of years past.
Foul back, 0-1 to Hayes.
And the one thing that Vaughn says it's helped him do, and I guess that's indicative of the fact he already has 4 home runs this year, is it enables him to get his hips into the ball better. He has better hip rotation. And Ralph talks about this a lot. You got to clear those hips in order to really get your big muscles, your rear end and your thighs, into the ball and generate that power. And Vaughn has really been able to do that since he is, even though it looks like he has a wide stance. If you remember last year and before, he was way out there.
Sliders low, 1-1 to Hayes. Nobody out. Schmidt at first, 1-0 New York. The only run scored on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. Tim Tuffle with the RBI. When a fellow's swinging a bat as hot as Hayes is, you don't hit and run with him. So this is not a hit and run situation. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. The reason for that, you want him to be selective.
And even at that, Von Hayes probably wished he had been more selective with this pitch. This is a tough pitch to hit. That splitter again going down and away from the left-hander, as we saw on Taveras' pitch to Strawberry.
1 and 2 to Von Hayes. Nobody out. Schmidt at first. 1-0 New York. And this ball hit the front of the plate and bounces over the head of Sasser. Schmidt had an idea about going to 3rd. But there's nothing a catcher can do when that ball hits the front part of the plate. 2nd wild pitch of the night thrown by Cohn.
This ball hit the front of the plate, and watch it go straight up, right over both Sasser and John McSherry. And all Mackey can do is turn, find it, and go get it. And fortunately, he hustled, or Mike Schmidt might have been in 3rd.
So Schmidt at 2nd. Nobody out. 2 and 2 now to Hayes. The on-deck batter is Ricky Jordan. Again in the dirt, and a great play by Sasser this time. Otherwise, Schmidt's on 3rd base. 3 and 2 to Hayes.
Mackey just saved the 3rd wild pitch. David Cohn has now thrown 4 wild pitches already this year. Now that's really not that unusual because of the type of pitcher that David is. His balls have a lot of late hard break on a number of different pitches that he throws, and consequently, if he's squeezing the ball a little bit or overthrowing a little bit, he can throw that thing right now on the ground, which he's done twice.
Line to right field, and it's a fair ball. Schmidt scores. Hayes stops at 2nd. It's now a 1-1 ball game, and the red-hot Von Hayes continues his purge of National League pitching.
Hayes hitting .700 with men in scoring position prior to this game. Keeps that going.
First baseman Ricky
His 15th RBI of the year. although he does trail Kevin Mitchell, who has 19, and Pedro Guerrero, who entered the game today with 15. But Hayes leading the National League in average runs scored, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. And with his 2 for 2 plus a walk tonight, he ain't hurting any of those a bit.
So Schmidt scores after the leadoff walk. And it's a 1-1 game. Still nobody out. And this one grounded to third base. Hernandez and Ricky Jordan with a super job moving Hayes to third. That's the one thing that Nick Leyva brought to the Philadelphia organization, the tradition of the Cardinals. Now, Lee Elia, who was the manager before, preached that, but Nick Leyva has the Phillies executing that. It's a big difference.
You're not kidding. Preaching and teaching may be the difference. I don't know. But certainly, Nick Leyva has shown a proclivity for Cardinal type, or shall we even say Whitey Herzog type baseball. And that certainly has to do with moving those runners along. And now the Mets will have to bring the infield in with 1 out.
And Darren Daulton, the batter. He fouls it back. Darren on the night 0 for 1. He has walked and struck out. There's the infield positioning, as Steve was talking about. So Hayes probably will make the ball go through unless it's a high chopper. And there was the high chopper, and it's foul. So it's 0-2 to Daulton. As a third base coach, you tell the runner at third, make the ball go through, but use your own judgment on a high chopper. And I would imagine Larry Boa, who is a terrific base runner himself, is telling Bond something along those lines. To Daulton. Oh, it hit him. Cone trying to come inside to Daulton, inadvertently hits Darren. Daulton appears to be all right. We mentioned when he broke his wrist last year. Also the torn up knee when Mike Heath slid into him a couple of years back.
Well, Coney's really having some problems with his control tonight, and Mackey Sasser getting a workout, and now it's Darren Daulton's turn to feel the effects.
Hey, I didn't think the squeeze situation would be in effect with Daulton hitting, but things have changed a bit. It's a 1-1 game, 1 out, first and third, and Dickie Thon, the 8th place hitter, is the batter. Infield and double play depth. 0-1.
Well, runs certainly have been scarce tonight, and picking up again on Nick Leyva being a disciple of Whitey Herzog. You might tend to think of the squeeze in this situation, but Dickie Thon swinging on the first pitch.
And the squeeze is on. Pitch out. Sasser gets it to Johnson, and Hayes is tagged out. Well, boy, was it indeed on. 2 outs.
Another thing that Whitey will do is put it on the second pitch. And the Mets pitching out, anticipating it perfectly, and then good execution. Only 1 throw necessary, and Johnson with a tag to the face of Von Hayes, knocking his helmet off. Hayes is coming, but the pitch out, and now, oh baby, where do I go from here? Nothing Hayes could do.
I'll tell you, Howard Johnson was so far in at third. Had Hayes broken back to third right away, I think he beats Johnson back to the bag. But by waiting just that little bit, it gave Johnson a chance to drop back. Slider is outside. That was a fastball up and away, so I called it as a pitch out. I think it was a pitch out. I'm not sure.
It appeared to be, because it looked like Sasser was coming up out of his crouch.
Yeah, it did. with help from the dugout. 2 balls and a strike to Thon. And he went too far, says Jerry Crawford, the first base umpire. So 2-2 to Dickey.
Cone has been tantalizing that outside part of the plate to Thon since the pitch out.
Got him with the fastball. The Phillies score a run, but the Mets and the Phillies both know it could have been worse. 1-1, middle of the 6th. We're back after this from the Hyatt Hotels and Resorts.
This weekend, feel the Hyatt touch.
The magic touch.
Unlike other copier companies, at Meter, we only have one thing on our mind. Meter. All we make are great copiers. Call 1-800-ABC-METER.
How could you fail? For 10 years, he gave them his blood. Then, after one mistake, they gave him a death sentence.
I cannot return. You're breaking my bleeding heart loose.
They think they control him. Think again. Dolph Lundgren, Red Scorpion. Rated R.
Red Scorpion now playing at a theater near you.
Don't be fooled. No matter what you read, see, or hear, nobody's prices on home electronics are lower than the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz.
At the beginning of the game, we talked about soreness in the right elbow that Steve Ontiveros had, and he went out to the mound, and Nick Leyva is now joining Darrell Knowles, the pitching coach. And it appears that Steve may have re-injured his right elbow. He was a tentative starter tonight. Mike Maddox, the right-hander of the Phillies, was going to be ready just in case Ontiveros had something wrong. It looks like he's got a pad or something on his elbow.
Or an elastic sleeve. Keith Hernandez, you remember, was wearing one earlier in the season, and it's really unusual for pitchers to wear any type of support like that on their pitching arm, but Ontiveros' elbows probably necessitated it. And that could be a support sleeve underneath his jersey.
Well, 2 things here. Obviously, the pitcher who comes in will be given all the time in the world to warm up. And Nick Leyva has gone to a double switch since Ontiveros is leading off the bottom of the 6th inning against David Cone. So the players have been called off the field. Kind of strange. Ricky Jordan wants to remain out. He's near first. And Von Hayes is talking to Kurt Ford, getting better acquainted in right center. Now, that's a weird, looks like right field ball. You remember when you were kids?
Yeah, you can't hit it to the side, the other side of second base.
Yeah, you didn't have enough guys to play, you know, so you made up your own game. That's kind of what this looks like.
Got to hit it to the right of second.
But certainly we're not making light of the Ontiveros situation. What appears to be Steve's injury problem.
Well, you must also take note of the fact that, as you see Nick Leyva on the phone to the bullpen, that Ontiveros has pitched very well. He had good breaking stuff, an effective curveball. He did walk 4. One of those was intentional.
Well, Jeff Parrott is going to be the pitcher, as Steve Ontiveros, who is 2-0 coming in, and really a tough break. 2 operations last year on that right elbow, and it appears to have flared up again, and the frustration certainly showing. As Jeff Parrott warms up, a 1-1 ball game, middle of the 6th. We'll be back after this from Express Mail.
You know we're gonna be there, don't think twice. Service is part of our name. We're a part of your country, a part of your town, and no one else does it but
We deliver, we deliver. It's the reason you trust us. You know that we're gonna come through. We're your postal service. We deliver for you.
Got it.
We deliver for you.
When the fear of summer crabgrass has you yellow, when your grass fades to brown, when battling weeds has you red in the face, or your yard has the buggy blues, use Green Sweep. There's a Green Sweep solution for most every lawn problem. Just hook it up to a hose and spray. Green Sweep. It can really green up your lawn, and then some. Enter Green Sweep's Weekend Freedom Sweepstakes. Get details wherever you buy Green Sweep.
Yes, what do you need?
6 middle-aged armed robbers. Police are calling them the Over-the-Hill Gang.
A man on the phone with information on that.
Has anyone changed the Chirons?
Just a copy story.
I just talked to Kelly Wright. He's got the videotaped confession of the so-called Angel of Death.
Standing by with that.
And right now it's supposed to be roasted. There's a report that Atlantic City may be the target of a terrorist attack.
Seriously injured police officer. It's still going on. Channel 9.
Jeff Parrott, making his 7th appearance already this season, has been very effective. He is 1-0. He has no saves as yet. In the 10 innings that he has worked, as you can see, his ERA 0.90. He's given up 7 hits, struck out 6 and walked 5. He has allowed just 1 earned run in those 10 innings of work. And of course, he is the winner of the Bedrosian lookalike contest.
Indeed he is.
This was Steve Ontiveros just moments ago, disgustedly heading for the clubhouse.
Yeah, you can really understand his frustrations. I mean, here he's battled back from arm injuries, signed to a AAA contract in February, a major league contract March 24th, and now in his 3rd start of the year, his elbow is flared up again. So Jeff Parrott in there. He will bat in the 8th position. Steve Jeltz has entered the game. Dickie Thon, the shortstop who started the game, is out of there. And Steve Jeltz will bat 9th. Here's Steve. The Mets scored a run in the 3rd inning. And the Phillies, with a run in the 6th inning, had Von Hayes at 2nd and nobody out. Ricky Jordan moved him to 3rd. And with 1 out, Darren Dalton was hit with an 0-2 pitch. And then the squeeze play, the pitch out by the Mets, ineffective. Or the pitch out was effective, the squeeze ineffective. Hayes was tagged out, and Thon struck out, and that ended the threat. 1-0 to McReynolds. 1-1 to Kevin, who was 0 for 1. He has walked and lined hard to left. Tapper foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Kevin McReynolds. Broken bat, base hit, so I guess they do indeed even out, right? Kevin hit the ball hard to left in the 1st inning, or the 2nd inning, and now a broken bat hit in the 6th. I know which one he'll take.
Oh, yeah. Well, if he hadn't broken his bat on this one, it probably would have been caught.
Smart hitting.
That's right. Broken bat took just enough off to have it fall in.
So Howard Johnson now. Ojo 0 for 1 on the evening. Parrott throwing to 1st with good reason. Kevin McReynolds has not been caught stealing since June 2nd, 1987, when Alex Trevino caught him. Alex with the Dodgers at that time. The slider is low. Good play, Dalton. 1-0 to Johnson. 33 consecutive stolen bases without being caught is what Darren Dalton is confronted with by Kevin McReynolds.
One of the things that has enabled Kevin to do that, along with the fact that he runs very well, is he has picked his spots.
21 in a row last year without being caught. A National League record. He broke Jimmy Sexton's record. Actually a Major League record. Foul back. Jimmy Sexton had done it 16 times in a row without being caught back in 1982. 1-1 to Johnson. You know, that's not a base stealing lead right there, because he's not in the baseline. He's out toward the outfield.
You know, I was just thinking the same thing. And Kevin rarely takes a huge lead at first base. And one would think, and he's not the only player that does this, one would think that you would want to have the shortest distance between 2 points, being a straight line, lead straight away.
Always has been.
Yeah, in this league anyway.
That's why the really good base runners do not take their lead toward the outfield part of the baseline, as Kevin is doing right there.
This, to me, is indicative of thinking about going back to the bag rather than going to second, because by backing off the baseline toward the outfield, you give yourself more of the bag to work with.
Right.
Jockeying for position with the first baseman going back in.
Unless you dive back in.
And Kevin
doesn't do that.
No, he doesn't. Right. And one reason he doesn't is because of what we talked about a minute ago. He never really takes that big a lead. And even though he doesn't take a big lead and doesn't lead off directly off the base towards second, he still can't be thrown out.
3 balls and a strike to Johnson. Nobody out. 1-1 game. We're in the 6th inning. And there goes McReynolds. Fastball's a strike. The throw not in time. Or is it in time? A late call and no argument by McReynolds. And here it is. The first time since June 2nd, 1987 that Kevin McReynolds has been thrown out. I thought for a second he slid off the bag.
Well, I didn't see him get tagged, and maybe we'll see it here. Kevin looking, running, and if he gets tagged, it's probably on the helmet.
You're exactly right, and that was a great call.
He was out. No question about it.
He was dead out. That's exactly right. Swing and a miss. Johnson down on strikes, so McReynolds with the base hit. And you could see clearly Kevin was out. He had stolen 33 consecutive bases before being thrown out by Darren Dalton. Tell you, I think looking at it, the reason I called it wrong, Steve, was you're so used to looking at the feet and the tag of the feet at second. I didn't use my head, but Kevin did. Here's Mackey Sasser, and he grounds one weakly towards second. Her up with it. What started out as a threat ended up as none. Jeff Parrott retires the Mets without a run. It's 1-1 after 6. Ralph rejoins Steve after this from Sears.
Jeep Racing Team, the winningest team in off-road racing, goes nowhere without Craftsman tools. From their durable precision power tools to hand tools that are guaranteed forever. So, make sure it's a Craftsman, because you don't want to get stuck with anything else.
Here's to you
America.
Dodge interrupts this commercial for an important announcement. 0% financing on every new 1989 car and selected pickup in stock. That's right, 0%.
You, America. Here's to the red, white, and blue. You were there for Dodge. Now Dodge is here for you. Here's to you, America.
Face-to-face with Nazi war criminals, incredible stories, a live television event.
The Hunt for Stolen War Treasures, live Monday at 8 on Channel 9.
David Cohn works into the 7th inning of a 1-1 tie. And in what has been a very good and very interesting ball game. Some things have happened and some more are going to happen. Kevin Elster, of course, still trying to get that 73rd consecutive game without an error. And to work these last 3 innings with me, a guy who never drops the ball, Ralph Kiner.
I wish that were true. Never drop it in the hole either.
Oh, come
Playing
on.
golf.
You can play that game.
Okay, Steve, here in the top of the 7th, Steve Jeltz will lead it off. He'll be batting for the first time. He was brought in when Jeff Parrott came in to pitch in place of Steve Ontiveros. And they made a batting order switch to put Parrott in the 8th batting position where he won't have to leave the ball game. Jeltz batting for the first time. Mets have out-hit the Phillies by a score of 6-4. Jeltz hitting .300 for the year. Last year he had the worst batting average of anybody in the National League. For players who had at least 200 at-bats. In fact, Jeltz made more errors than he had RBIs last year. And the first pitch by Cohn, a fastball, strike one.
Which is one reason, Ralph, that the Phillies went out and got Dickie Thon and Tommy Hearn. You see Barry Lyons into the game for Mackey Sasser, so maybe Mackey's hand is bothering him.
And a good fastball got in and jammed him on that trademark, and it's fouled off, strike two. So a new catcher for the Mets. Mackey Sasser, the starting catcher, leaving the ball game. Mackey with a base hit and 3 times up. And the fastball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mets got a run back in the 3rd. It was driven in by Tim Tuffle. And the Phillies tied it up with a run in the top of the 6th. Good curveball topped out in front of home plate. Lyons with his first play. 1 away.
Well, it was certainly apparent how fooled Steve Jeltz was on this pitch. No, wait, no, now I'm going to swing. There were 2 halves to that swing, and they were not connected, which is why he didn't make good contact. The breaking ball really fooled him.
And that'll bring up Curt Ford. Ford is 0 for 3 in the game. And he gets a high curveball for ball 1. Ford still looking for his first hit this year. He's now 0 for 9. Fastball missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Final game of the 3-game series. Each side is 1-1. And the split finger fastball for a ball. 2-1. Philadelphia, the surprise club in the National League. They have won 7 and lost 5. They're 1 game out of first place. And another surprise in the National League, the New York Mets. They're in 6th place.
Well, a lot of people think that the standings are upside down right now. And Ralph, you probably heard Tim and I talk about Nick Leyva and the influence that Whitey Herzog has had on him and the influence that has now had on the Phillies. It's awfully early, but I think it's apparent.
There's that good curveball, but this one just off the plate. It's 3-2.
Leyva has very similar talent to what the Phillies had last year. As we look at Cohn's breaking ball again, it just does miss inside.
They did add a real professional to their ball club in Tommy Hearn. Fastball hit out to right center field. Dykstra will get there. And Kurt Ford still trying to get his engine started.
Fix or repair daily. Got to kick-start it. But I think it is apparent, even though it is early, Ralph, that the type of ball the Phillies are playing and Tommy Herr's acquisition and Nick Leyva's approach, a couple of those factors.
And the fact that Von Hayes is just tearing everything apart.
That doesn't hurt. When you got a guy in the middle of the lineup hitting close to 500.
So now 2 men away, and the batter will be Tommy Herr. Tommy 1 for 3 in the game.
But the Phillies in the past have been somewhat of a station-to-station type of ball club, and Nick Leyva has changed that, and we've seen evidence of that in this game.
Their best base stealers on the disabled list. There's a curveball fouled off, 1-1. Juan Samuel. And when he comes back into the lineup, he'll be in center field, and that will add a dimension of stolen bases.
And Hayes, whom you just saw, will go back to right field, or he can also play first, and has played all 3 this year.
Fastball again, and again fouled away. 1-2.
Tom now with a 6-game hitting streak after his single his last time up. And how about that for balance as a switch hitter? Only 2/100ths of a point difference in his average over his career.
Oh, good pitch. So the strikeout ends the inning. 4th strikeout for David Cone, a 1-2-3 inning. And the score at the end of 6.5 innings. It's the Phillies 1 and the Mets 1. Now here's a word from Nissan.
Is back at Nissan. For a limited time, you can get $750 cash back directly from Nissan on selected Sentras and hard bodies. Up to $1,000 cash back or special financing on Stanzas and Pulsar NXs. And dealer cash incentives up to $3,000. Cash back is back. Now at your Nissan dealer.
Most dashboards can't tell you about your transmission, but Lee Miles can. The 1095 Transmission Protection Service, only at Lee Miles.
Mets fans, travel in style this baseball season with the New York Mets flight bag, courtesy of Liberty Travel, on Wednesday, April 26th, when the Mets host the Atlanta Braves. All fans will receive a beautiful flight bag featuring the Mets' new #1 logo, commemorating 5 years of baseball excellence. Game time, 7:35. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or you can call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Mets baseball and excellence again.
Follow all the action this season with the 1989 New York Mets yearbook. It's filled with spectacular photos and features a special 32-page tribute to the 1969 World Champions. Pick up your Mets yearbook at Shea Stadium or send a check or money order made payable to the New York Mets for $5 plus $2 postage and handling to Mets Yearbook, Post Office Box 9559, Trenton, New Jersey 08650. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery. New Jersey residents add 6% sales tax.
Well, here's our Sears financial update for you. Market's up and gold and silver are down. That's good news as far as inflation is concerned. The market up 7.51 today. We certainly don't want you to lose sight of your portfolio here, even though we're concentrating on baseball.
And the market up over the infamous October day where it took that tremendous drop.
New post-crash high, as they say.
And it will be Kevin Elster to lead it off. Strike 1 the call as Jeff Parrott works to the right-hand batter. Another breaking ball and a swing by Elster for strike 2. Kevin 0 for 2 in this game. He has not made an error, so if he can get through this ball game without an error, he'll hold the new record for most games played by a shortstop in consecutive order without an error. The fastball. 1-2. Kevin McReynolds brought a 33 consecutive stolen base success into this ball game. Was thrown out in a very close play, so that streak goes down the drain. The record, Davey Lopes had 38 consecutive stolen bases. And the breaking ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And there's a sign indicating Kevin's 73rd game without an error. He has this game to do it, and that will be not the necessarily, but a new Major League record.
Again, the breaking ball, and it goes to 3-2. Tie ball game at 1. So Kevin Elster leading off here in the 7th inning. Fastball hit hard to center field. Don Hayes back, and he'll get there. So Elster hits the fastball to deep center, but to no avail.
And the wind's blowing in a little bit and probably didn't help him at all. Hayes got a good jump on that ball and made a good play. Here's the Nissan National League scoreboard. Pittsburgh this afternoon beat St. Louis 7-5. The Padres nipped the Giants 4-3. In the 9th inning now, Montreal leading Chicago as the Cubs are faltering a bit. It's 3-2 Expos, and it's 3-2 Houston over Atlanta in the top of the 8th. Later on tonight, Cincinnati will be at Los Angeles in about 40 minutes.
Cincinnati a chance to take over first place. First pitch to David Cone, high for ball 1. Cone with a base hit and 2 times up. Dodgers off to a slow start. They're 6-8. They came into their action 3 games back. And Cone fouls off a fastball, 1-1. Cubs come in here for a big 4-game series starting tomorrow night. It'll be Dwight Gooden on the mound for the Mets with a record of 2-0, and Mike Pilecki will be pitching for Chicago. Mike with a record of 1-0. One and 2 the count. And Jeff Parrott strikes out his second batter. So 2 men away, bottom half of the 7th inning, 1-1 ball game. And that'll bring up Lenny Dykstra.
Center fielder, Lenny Dykstra.
Dykstra 1 for 2 in tonight's ball game, also has walked. And the breaking ball, ball 1. One thing you don't want to do with Jeff Parrott is to go into extra innings against him. He is 8-0 in his last extra inning decisions. Of course, he won't be there when we get to extra innings if that happens. Fastball hit the right field, a base hit.
Dykstra's second hit of the night, and the second hit for the Mets off Jeff Parrott since he entered the game in the 6th inning.
That'll bring up Tim Tuffle.
Parrott got that ball up in the strike zone, and Dykstra went up there and says, I like it.
Tuffle also 1 for 2 with a walk. Single to center field in the 5th inning. Tuffle had an RBI his second at bat. Got that in a ground out. Dykstra with 30 stolen bases last year. He's had 1 this year in 1 attempt. And ball 1. And again, Dykstra is tested at first.
Well, everything points to Dykstra running, trying to get the second with 2 out. And he's taking a little bit bigger lead each time.
11 gets away from Jordan, but not far enough for Dykstra to take off the second.
First 2 throws over, Lenny was able to go back standing up. The last 2 throws over, he's had to dive back in. And that time the ball was thrown right into him by Parrott. But Jordan pounced on it quickly.
And a strike call off the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Parrott, acquired from the Montreal Expos. Rather formidable relief. in the bullpen for the Phillies. Another throw over to first, Dykstra back. Bedrosian and Parrott, they certainly look alike.
Yep. Yep. Both have the beards and similar countenances.
And the fastball stays high. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
We talked about this briefly the other night. If you are a base stealer and you are looking at a right-handed pitcher, if you can watch his right heel, you can determine if he's coming over to first base.
Dykstra running. The throw by Dalton is into the runner. It bounces into very shallow center field where it's picked up by Jeltz. So Dykstra gets a stolen base, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position.
It was only a matter of time before Lenny took off. The ball appeared to hit him in the helmet and careen right into the glove of Steve Jeltz. Tuffle taking the pitch. It's a ball, and the ball comes in. No, it actually looked like it went off Lenny's hand. It hit some part of Lenny's body and went straight up into the glove of Steve Jeltz. As the throw is low, it might have also gone off Tom Herr's leg after it hit Dykstra. But Jeltz happened to be in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, Lenny might have been on third base. And we have a report on Mackey Sasser, his right hand. And I thought it was his left hand because that's the one he was flexing. But anyway, his hand is bruised, apparently. And there is, at least so far, no indication of a break. The Mets just don't want to take any chances.
And the good off-speed pitch. That puts the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. In the bullpen, Mike Maddox is throwing. Just did get up.
Maddox was the emergency starter if Steve Ontiveros would have been unable to go.
Struck him out, so that ends the inning. Second strikeout in the inning for Parrott is 3rd in 2 innings. 1 hit, 1 left. The score at the end of 7. The Mets won and the Philadelphia Phillies won. Now here's a word from Tropicana.
This is Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice. No other major brand comes closer to this than this. Now this is Tropicana Pure Premium Home Style for those who like juicy bits of orange in their juice. So if you like the taste plus the feel of fresh squeezed, no one comes closer to this than this. Tropicana Pure Premium. Either way, you just can't pick a better juice.
Over 91,000 Cadillac owners wound up as Lincoln owners in the past 5 years. One reason is Lincoln Continental. With Continental, you wind up with more advanced standard steering, braking, and suspension systems than Cadillac Seville. And a car that outsells Seville nationwide 2-to-1. Buy a Continental, Town Car, or Mark 7, and you'll wind up like over 91,000 Cadillac owners. You'll be a Lincoln owner.
Now get $1,500 customer cash on Lincoln Town Car and Mark 7.
What does buying with confidence mean? When the Wiz opened its doors years ago, our founder pledged, satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. And that pledge is still being honored. Our 7-day money-back guarantee says that if you're not satisfied, totally satisfied with your purchase from the Wiz, return it within 7 days and we'll refund your money with no hassles. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. That's buying with confidence. Nobody beats the Wiz.
I'm Roland Smith. After the game, the latest on the explosion aboard the USS Iowa. Atlantic City casinos brace for a possible terrorist hit, and Pat Collins interviews Kevin Costner.
Chris James will lead it off for the Phillies here in the top of the 8th, a 1-1 ball game. James 0 for 3, brought a 6-game hitting streak into this game. David Cohn on the mound for the Mets has given up 1 run, allowing just 4 hits while striking out 4. He also has walked 4. And the fastball fouled back. Almost a chance for Steve Zabriskie.
I was just trying to protect our pal Vinny up here.
And a ground ball to Elster, and he comes up with it. Accurate throw, and the streak continues.
Everything Kevin does in the field is going to be scrutinized and cheered about, especially tonight. And then, of course, the streak can continue. Here's the Nissan American League scoreboard. Yankees beat Toronto 4-2. They have the Jays number. Oakland over Seattle 7-5. In the 8th inning, Boston leads Cleveland 8-3. 6th inning, Kansas City over Baltimore 3-2. 7th inning, Minnesota leading Detroit 2-1. 5th inning, the Angels lead the White Sox 5-0. And in the 6th, Texas keeping it going in front of Milwaukee 2-1.
And Mike Schmidt, the batter. And he fouls off the first pitch. Schmidt in this game has yet to have a base hit. Walked his last time up. Going back with a fastball.
I have to reach for those foul balls, Ralph, because our associate director, Vinny Fingers Sinopoli, can't catch a lick. Of course, maybe I can't either. I don't want him to get hurt.
You're the first guy I've seen that moves to his right when a ball is going to his left. 2-1 the count.
There's a method to my madness.
Schmidt with a 3-run home run in last night's ball game. He now has 546 career home runs. And he drives this one into the corner. It'll be extra bases. Ball fielded by McReynolds and then drops, so Schmidt eases into second with a 2-base hit. So in this 1-1 ball game, the Phillies have the go-ahead run at second with 1 out here in the 8th.
And with this hit, Mike Schmidt ties the Philadelphia Phillies all-time career hit record of Richie Ashburn at 2,217. Kevin McReynolds tried to barehand the ball and throw to second in an effort to get Schmidt, and once he didn't come up with it, he just threw it into third. So Schmidt with his next hit will take over that record, and I think that's, well, Davy Johnson out there. Davy does not usually go out there without making some type of a move, and he didn't even stay 5 seconds, Ralph.
Well, he just got a pitcher up in the bullpen.
And it's Randy Myers.
Center fielder Von Hayes.
I can hear Richie Ashburn right now saying with that base hit, well, I did mine in a shorter period of time than he did his. And it is true. So Von Hayes, the hottest hitter in the major leagues, is going to be walked intentionally, and that's what Davey went out there for. He says, put this guy on. We're not going to fool with him. In this game, he's been perfect. A single and a double and a walk.
Well, you can't quibble with this strategy in a 1-1 ball game in the top half of the 8th inning with a runner in scoring position and 1 out.
And it will set up the double play. The batter coming up will be a right-hand batter, Ricky Jordan. So Schmidt at second. And on one more pitch, Von Hayes will join him on the bases at first. Von Hayes also leads the National League in walks. Now has 14.
Well, the man with the pipe seated next to standing Harry Callis is Whitey, Richie Ashburn. And the trademark chapeaus. I think Whitey's got 100 different hats. But what a hitter he was, and what a popular guy he is in Philadelphia to this day.
Outstanding player for the New York Mets in 1962. As a matter of fact, he was the most valuable player of that team that year. Team that lost 120 games. He said, what's so valuable about a team that lost 120 games? Good play by Barry Lyons to save a wild pitch. Jordan 1 for 3 tonight. Ashburn in 62 hit 306 for the Mets. And a strike call. 1-1. Ashburn that year hit 306 and then retired. Game of Philadelphia Philly broadcaster. You're watching Mets baseball 89 on WWR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Hard hit ball over the glove of Elster. Coming around to Schmidt. The throw by McReynolds is not a good throw. It's cut off by Johnson. And the Phillies take the lead 2-1 as Ricky Jordan spoils the strategy and drives in the go-ahead run.
The obvious disappointment on the face of David Cone. The ball just out of the reach of Kevin Elster. I'll tell you what, David Cone is a battler. This pitch not exactly where David Cone wanted it to be. Elster gave it a great effort. McReynolds charging and throwing, but the ball took kind of a crazy hop off the infield and wisely was cut off.
And that will be Cone's last pitch. Davey Johnson back out to the mound. The second trip to the mound is an automatic. And Cone will leave the ball game getting credit for 7 1/3 innings. Charged so far with 2 runs. And he gave up a total of 6 hits. So while Myers comes in to take his warm-up pitches, here's a word from Snapper Lawn Equipment.
Many lawnmower companies make quick start guarantees. But what about the rest of the mower? At Snapper, we guarantee more than quick starting. If you're not satisfied with your new Snapper's performance within 14 days of purchase, we'll refund your money.
Great, but I already bought Mr. Quick Start here.
Right now, Snapper dealers are offering great trade-in allowances. So now's the time to trade.
Get instant cash savings now on all Snapper walks, riders, and tractors.
With Ortho Cleanup, your yard is manicured and free to thrive. This is where Ortho leadership in garden care really shows. Ortho Cleanup. It trims walkways and removes weeds down to their very roots. Only the beauty remains. You can tell just by looking. You're better off with Ortho.
They got tigers in Connecticut. I saw one. He winked at me. Wow. Dad and Jimmy went fishing, and Jimmy caught a big-mouth bass. The amusement park was neat, but after we got off the roller coaster, Mom wasn't amused anymore. We even saw the governor. He's got a nice house.
Hey, not a bad likeness. There's so much to do in classic Connecticut, it makes you feel like a kid again. Call me for a free Connecticut vacation guide.
Randall K, they call him. Randy Myers on in relief. His 8th appearance of the season. He's worked 8 2/3 innings so far with a record of 0-1 and 2 saves and a 2.08 earned run average. And Myers in those 8 2/3 innings, as you see, has punched out 15 hitters so far. The reaction of David Cone in the dugout, obviously, and with good reason, upset with himself.
And Randy Myers starts off against Darren Dalton with a fastball and gets a strike. Dalton is 0 for 1. He has walked and has been hit by a pitch ball. 1 strike to count. Top of the 8th inning. Phillies leading 2-1. Runners at first and second. 1 man out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, the fastball. Dalton with 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in so far this year. Last year, he broke his hand punching a TV set. And a breaking ball.
I wonder if he was watching us at the time.
I was going to say, he might have been watching the Mets broadcasters. How many guys have really jeopardized their career? Punching walls, water coolers, TVs.
You know, the dugout's full of bats. Why don't you take a bat and beat on something?
And that ball fouled away. Larry Boa, third base coach of the Phillies, led the league in tearing up washrooms. Now, he did have a little more finesse. He used to do it with bats.
That's right.
Just rip them all apart with those bats. Mets had a pitcher named Moorhead who was a knuckleball pitcher, and he got knocked out of the box, went down, punched out the water cooler, and broke his knuckles. Never came back. 2-2. Pat Zachary, when he gave up a base hit to Pete Rose in his hitting streak, came in and kicked the front part of the dugout and broke a bone in his foot. Breaking ball again. This one misses. It's 3-2. So 3-2 and one man out. Runner at second base, Von Hayes, is fast. But with a left-hand batter up, it's doubtful that they'll have the runners going, although they did put them in motion earlier in this series. They do not go here, and the ball is hit foul. Johnson and Elster over there, but it's back into the stands. So they'll do it all over again. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away.
Hojo looked as if he was ready to climb into about the 3rd row if necessary to try to make that play over the tarp roller.
Randy Myers working with the undershirt in this ball game. 3-2 pitch, blooped out toward Elster. He has it, tries to get the double play, and dives. Kevin Elster doubling up Von Hayes. Von Hayes after making the catch, and that'll end the inning. So a good job by Randy Myers. Only 1 run scoring on 2 hits, 1 left, and the score at the end is 7 1/2 innings. The Phillies 2, the Mets 1. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
He's got 2 baby girls in his arms. His wife's holding another baby girl, and the woman is pregnant. So I hold one child. I help the mother into the Sierra.
The four-door?
Of course the four-door. They've got 109 kids, these people. The father's poring over the sticker. He's nodding and smiling. The mother is saying how beautiful she thinks the car is. And I got Natalie crawling on the roof, Annette in the back seat, Cindy in my arms. I'm like the old woman in the shoe. So I sidle over to the father. I nod towards the mother. I say, is it going to be a boy or a girl? And he says, give you one guess.
This is a machine designed to make travel easier.
American Airlines.
No problem. I can check on that for you, sir. Right on time.
And these are its most important parts.
No problem at all, sir. No hay problema.
Don't worry, we'll get it there.
You're all set.
The men and women of American
I can
Airlines,
change that for you. No trouble.
You have a good flight.
committed to making your trip something special.
No problem at all. No problem. Glad we could help.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ross and Wilson.
Thank you very much. No matter how big we get, success still hasn't spoiled Ross and Wilson. This Thursday morning, you can win 20 big ones if your birthday matches the one in this envelope. Just put your radio on Z100 at 100.3 FM. Then listen Thursday morning at 7:20 for your chance to win 20 grand. Pocket change.
Z100, non-stop music and more free money.
Tomorrow morning at 7:20 on Z100, somebody's going to win 20 grand. Ooh, I'm all shook up.
Nobody tells it like the Daily News.
Nobody knows it, nobody shows it, nobody tells it like the Daily News. It's lucky you can pitch.
New York's home team paper.
Kevin Elster with the inning-ending double play as the Phillies scored 1, but no more. Darren Dalton breaks his bat here. And the looping liner catches Von Hayes off in a very close play at second, but Joe West punches him out, and Hayes disagrees, and then Elster is telling him how he did it in the dugout after the play is over.
Had a good job by Randy Myers getting the Mets out of that jam with only 1 run scoring, and here for another good job, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks, Ralphie. Keggs Hernandez 1 for 3 at a base hit to right field in the 3rd inning. Still bothered by that pulled right groin that kept him out of action for a game and a half, and it's been very evident by the way Keith has run. Fouls this one off for strike 1. 2-1 Philadelphia as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Jeff Parrott in relief of Steve Ontiveros, who pitched very well, but had to leave the game as that elbow problem apparently flared up again. A jackknife job to Hernandez, 1 ball, 1 strike. Strawberry and McReynolds to follow. The splitter missed, 1 and 2. And there's Steve Bedrosian in the bullpen, and if you look closely and then look at Jeff Parrott, you'll see what we're talking about. Not the Twins in the dirt. 2 and 2 to Hernandez.
Parrott starting his third inning of work.
And picks up his 4th strikeout as he gets Hernandez to lead off the 8th.
Right fielder, Darryl Strawberry.
Well, he makes a great pitch right here in the 3-2 count. Split finger fastball out of the strike zone, but Keith went after it.
Strawberry takes high and away, ball 1. Darryl tonight 0 for 2 plus an intentional walk in the 3rd. Foul back out of play and the count 1 and 1. Very few players can turn on a crowd like Darryl Strawberry can when he comes to the plate. Down low, 2 and 1. Sort of like they used to do in Forbes Field when Ralph Kiner would step in. Nothing gets him going like the prospect of a home run. Swing and a miss. A good fastball, 2 and 2.
And the fellow that turned the game around, Babe Ruth.
Darryl chased one. Parrott has now struck out 3 in a row as he got Tuffle to end the 7th inning. And has struck out both Hernandez and Strawberry here in the 8th.
Good mixture of pitches. He struck out Keith with a split finger fastball, the off-speed pitch, and now he gets Strawberry with a fastball.
So Kevin McReynolds will stand in with 2 out and nobody on. McReynolds 1 for 2. Ball 1. Kevin lined hard to left in the 2nd, walked on a close 3-2 pitch in the 3rd, and singled to left in the 6th. High fastball, 2 balls, no strikes. Down the left field line. Fair ball. Rolling around in the corner. It gets by Chris James, but McReynolds will stop at 2nd.
It was a double by Mike Schmidt in the 8th inning to put the Phillies in motion, and now McReynolds doubles into that same corner. Chris James has trouble playing the ball off the wall, and McReynolds with the 2-base hit. So the Mets have the time run at 2nd, and they have Howard Johnson coming up. I think we're going to see a new pitcher in the ballgame.
Well, Nick Leyva's coming to make a double switch. He's going to send Bobby Dernier into the outfield and make the pitching change right now with the left-handed actually switch hitting Howard Johnson coming up. There's Bob Dernier, who's going to go into center field. Ricky Jordan will come out of the game, and Von Hayes will move from center field to first base. And Steve Bedrosian is the new pitcher. And we'll be back with 2 out and the tying run aboard for New York here in the 8th inning after this for the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me your match. Find me your find, catch me a catch. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I'm really stuck. I've got the truck.
The genuine New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages gives you the most ads and the most choices. No wonder it's the most used book around.
We need more space. I've got the place. Make me a perfect match.
The genuine New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. No other book can match it.
Ortho Cleanup, your yard is manicured and free to thrive. This is where Ortho leadership in garden care really shows. Ortho Cleanup. It trims walkways and removes weeds down to their very roots. Only the beauty remains. You can tell just by looking. You're better off with Ortho.
Key to a good coach is being cool about giving you signs. The 2 signs this season are even getting me a little excited. That's right, American Express and Budget Rent-A-Car. The team you need when you hit the road. Budget can get you into a regular season Mets game free. Just rent 3 times at regular low rates through July 16th and receive gift certificates for 2 tickets to a Mets home game. And using the American Express card on a play like this makes it easy. Budget Rent-A-Car, the sign to look for great baseball.
Well, Bedrosian, the new pitcher in the ball game, Cy Young Award winner 2 years ago. And here we go.
Howard Johnson in the first pitch gets away, but not far enough for Kevin McReynolds to advance to third, as Darren Dalton got after it in a hurry. Into the game, Bob Dernier in center field now. First baseman Ricky Jordan is out of there, and Vaughn Hayes moves from center to first. And Bedrock, the pitcher.
Bedrosian with a major league record of 13 consecutive saves and 13 appearances. All of them in relief.
Howard Johnson tonight, 0 for 2 plus a walk. He's flied deep to center and struck out after walking and stealing a base in the second inning. Inside, ball 2.
Bedrosian worked a 1-2-3 inning in last night's ball game. And the time run is at second with Lee Mazzilli in the on-deck circle.
High and away, ball 3. 3-0. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Philadelphia leading 2-1 as they scored a run in the top of the 8th to break the 1-1 tie. 2 out with Kevin McReynolds at second. Three and 1. Nick Leva, at least on the outside, looking fairly relaxed. Strike 2. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Howard Johnson.
Bedrosian making a good pitch on the 3-1 pitch there, just catching the outside corner. All fastballs so far to Howard Johnson. It's power against power.
Ball 4. So with the tying run at second and the potential go-ahead run at first, still 2 out. Lee Mazzilli will be the pinch hitter.
Has 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter so far this year.
McReynolds at second, Johnson at first. Good speed on the bases for New York. Mazzilli wasn't ready when Bedrosian was, so Lee asked for time. Kevin Elster, the on-deck hitter. And now Dave Magadan replaces him in the on-deck circle. Strike call. And Mazzilli can't believe it. He thought it was outside. There's Magadan.
Well, this is another borderline pitch. All tailing away, and John McSherry, the home plate umpire, saying he caught that corner.
Well hit deep to right field. Kurt Ford goes back. Home run. They once called him the darling of New York, and he is again. And now Elster is going to hit instead of Magadan, as the Mets are leading 4-2 on the 3-run pinch hit home run by Lee Mazzilli. Foul back. Strike 2.
Well, here it is again, a fastball, maybe a slider. And Mazzilli gets all of it. He did not have a home run all last season. And here's a pinch hitter. He puts the Mets on top.
Elster strikes out on 3 pitches to end the inning. But the Mets on the 3-run pinch hit homer by Maz lead 4-2 as we go to the 9th after this for Bud Light.
That's him, isn't it?
You bet it is.
He's good.
I just love the way he parties. Do you know why Spuds McKenzie has so much fun at parties? Because he's always in control. And he knows how to make a party last. It takes good sense to have a good time. And Spuds knows it's cool to live by one simple rule. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Anheuser-Busch.
This is it. Your day in the sun. You've got talent, experience, and equipment you can depend on. Charcoal made with premium woods to bring power and consistency to your game. Then, and only then, can you bask in the glow of victory. Kingsford Charcoal, what the pros use.
When the fear of summer crabgrass has you yellow, when your grass fades to brown, when battling weeds has you red in the face, or your yard has the buggy blues, use Green Sweep. There's a Green Sweep solution for most every lawn problem. Just hook it up to a hose and spray. Green Sweep. It can really green up your lawn, and then some. Enter Green Sweep's Weekend Freedom Sweepstakes. Get details wherever you buy Green Sweep.
Pregnancy pointer number 5.
That you ought not think of it as pain.
What I had was pain.
Weeknights at 7 on Channel 9.
Gary Carter enters the game as the catcher here in the 9th inning for New York, as Lee Mazzilli pinch hit for Barry Lyons and dramatically turned the ball game around with one swing.
Well, the Mets now have their 9th home run. Their previous 8 home runs coming with no one on base. And Lee Mazzilli just takes all of it. A slider, and he hits it out of the ballpark, and the Mets take the lead. There's the action on the ball, and Lee knew it was gone the minute he hit it. And that's his first home run this year and first in 2 years.
A strike to Bob Dernier, leading off the 9th inning and batting for the first time. Dernier hitting .250 on the year, no homers, 2 RBIs. He has a double. And then he fouls it back, and it's strike 2 as Randy Myers continues to fire the heat. Dernier inserted in center field when Nick Leyva made the double switch, bringing Bedrosian into the game. And it's Bedrosian who now stands to be the losing pitcher. A little bit high with the fastball, 1-2. There's Bedrock. He walked Howard Johnson, the first hitter he faced, and then gave up the home run to Lee Mazzilli. Foul back again. Still 1-2.
First home run that he has given up this year. And it couldn't have come at a better time for the New York Mets and their fans.
Well, the Mets have been suffering from offensive anemia. And Lee Mazzilli just gave him a few extra red blood cells. High and away, 2-2.
Well, the Mets last in the National League in runs scored, and they had not had a dramatic home run. First one of the year for the Mets. They come from behind, 3-run home run by Lee Mazzilli.
Just inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Bob Dernier. That home run by Maz, the 5th career pinch hit home run he has had. A liner caught by Tuffle, 1 away. We want to remind you that our guests on the program received from Verdi Travelwear a new modern tweed luggage set made of strong, extra durable fabric, ideal for long wear. Verdi Travelwear, available at fine stores everywhere. And they'll also receive a Sharp remote-controlled compact disc player with 8 times oversampling and 20-track programmability. A new point of view from Sharp Audio. Steve Jeltz takes the strike as Randy Myers tries to close it out and pick up the win. Jeltz hit a tapper off the end of the bat and was thrown out by Barry Lyons in the 7th inning. Fastball in there. Strike 2.
Well, the job that Randy did coming in the ball game, getting that double play, looms big now as Kevin Elster, if he can get through this inning, will set an all-time record for consecutive games without an error. 73.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Steve Jeltz. One out, nobody on, 9th inning. And the Mets with 3 in the bottom of the 8th lead by 2. 2-2 to Jeltz. The Mets dugout looking a little more relaxed. Bud Harrelson, Mel Stottlemyre flanking Davy Johnson. Just outside, 3-2 to Jeltz. Myers stands to win it. It would be his first victory of the year if he can finish the Phillies off here in the ninth. Fastball fouled down the right field line, and the count remains 3-2.
Steve Bedrosian, the man who stands to be on the losing side of this game.
Fouled back, still 3-2.
The actual loss would go to Parrott. To make that will go to Bedrosian.
Right, because of the fact that Bedrock walked Howard Johnson. It really is the winning run if the score remains the same. High ball 4. Well, Jelt's on with 1 out in the 9th. We remind you that New York Mets baseball is being brought to you tonight by Budweiser. Beechwood Aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race. By the New York Daily News, New York's hometown paper. By the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. No other book can match it. New Jersey Bell, a Bell Atlantic company. By Mita, all we make are great copiers. And by The Wiz. Remember, for anything in home entertainment, nobody beats The Wiz. High to Kurt Ford, ball 1. Ford 0 for 4 tonight, 0 for 10 on the season. And it's Juan Samuel, not Kurt Ford. Samuel pinch hitting for Ford.
And he was just activated today then if he's in this game. He had been on the DL.
A swing and a miss by Sammy, and it's 1-1. 1 out, 1 on. Samuel represents the tying run for Philadelphia here in the 9th inning. Strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kevin Elster, the shortstop, and the pressure is on him as well as Randy Myers in the Mets.
Fouled off the mask of Gary Carter. Still 1-2 to Samuel.
Samuel's a formidable hitter. In '87, he had 28 home runs. Last year, in off year, he had 12.
Buddy Harrelson has to be identifying a little bit with Kevin Elster at shortstop. Foul back out of play. Still 1-2 to Samuel. Buddy Harrelson had a chance to set a record, and I think you alluded to it earlier, Ralph, in the telecast.
Well, the pressure's there. Ironically, Elster was almost taken out for a pinch hitter, and he would have had that record. Now he has to play in this inning and sweat it out.
Foul off the mask of home plate umpire John McSherry.
Samuel, a fastball hitter, and that's all Myers is throwing him. He is just going against him with his best.
And the last couple have not been missed by much by Juan Samuel. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. And Steve Jeltz, the runner at first base. Breaking ball. Carter dropped it. But first base is occupied, so Samuel can't go anywhere. And there are 2 out in the 9th inning.
Second baseman.
Well, after all those fastballs, he finally went to the slider, and Samuel fooled by the pitch. Ball gets away from Carter, but the batter cannot run with 1 man out and first base occupied.
Now, if there were 2 out,
he could
run. Now there are 2 out. And the hitter is Tom Herr, who is 1 for 4, a single back in the 5th inning. Strike 1. A total of 26,551 on hand tonight, 25,694 paid. And they've seen a pretty darn good ball game. Line drive, center field, Dykstra coming, makes the catch, and the game is over. A fitting ending to a full evening as Bud Harrelson comes out. Davey Johnson and the Mets on Lee Mazzilli's pinch hit 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th inning come from behind and beat Philadelphia 4-2. Kevin Elster has played in his 73rd consecutive game without an error, and that is a new major league record. A big night for New York as they kick-started their anemic offense with the help of Lee Mazzilli's veteran bat. Ralph and I will be back to wrap this one up, so stay with us. The Mets win it 4-2 as Dykstra's diving catch ends it in dramatic fashion. Elster celebrates a major league record.